From the window to the wall.
In my comfy bed I crawl. I don't need to hang out with you all. Ah, sleep, 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 sleep.
And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, are my good friends, Hunter and Kyle. Hey, guys. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just well.
You alright, Kyle?
Hunter really got me with that pre-episode starting banter.
Well, you know, it's always fun around here. It's always... You just had to be there, guys. You just had to be there.
It's fun and games.
You know, it kind of feels right now, not only... I just want people to ignore the fact that my mic is finally in the right position for the first time in like 3 years. I want you guys to ignore that. It had to be done this week. I just feel it's like this is like a bittersweet moment. Because it's like we're at the end of like 3 years, and it's like, you know, I know we always used to like joke about we'd never make it through the first year, and then we joked on the second year, like, I'm surprised we made it to year 2, and I'm like, I'm genuinely shocked at this point. If you had told 2020 Ethan that was going through the COVID pandemic that, hey, this podcast that you started on the week of COVID basically would last for 3 whole years. We've done 3 whole seasons of this, and even though we've technically missed weeks, we've never missed an episode. It's kind of crazy that we're actually here.
Yeah.
It is crazy to look back and see how far we've come with this whole thing.
Yeah, because, you know, it's
Because
like
I mean, we're still relatively small, but you know, we've got our niche little audience, and you know, it's more than a lot of other YouTube's channels can say.
Well, it's like
Think of all the little guys.
Like when you think of all the podcast statistics, where it was like we're in like the top 10, like 8% of podcasts or whatever, and it's like, yeah, we have a niche podcast or, you know, anything like that, because of course we have, like, you know, when we're talking about less people listening, we're talking about in the hundreds. We're not talking like thousands or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like collectively you'll have 100, 200 people listen to our podcast every week, whether on YouTube or podcast. But it's like to think about the fact that it's like, yeah, you see those small numbers or you see the small growth or anything like that, and you kind of, in a way, you almost go, why are we still doing this 3 years later? Why, you know? But then when you look at it's like, when you think about it, most people's podcasts, no one listens to them. No one even bats an eyelid, and everyone gives up 8 episodes in. So the fact that people are, you know, still here, still listening, and, you know, we've steadily grown to a point now where, yeah, we do have hundreds of people listen every week. At least, you know, I remember back in year 1, it was like we were like, hey, we're getting there, you know, we get like 30 views an episode on YouTube, and, you know, in total we had about, you know, 60 people listen every week, and we're like, that's cool, we like that. But it's like,
we were popping off if we ever saw 3 digits back in 2020.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's the fact that, you know, we've got to a point now where, yeah, we have podcasts that we don't think are particularly doing well, but you still get to that point where it's like, well, you know, we genuinely do, for the most part, have at least 100. I think it's nice now that we're like, you know what, that video didn't, you know, the video version didn't crack 60 views. We need to think about that instead of it being this video version. We had episodes back in the day where they literally had like 8 listens, like, total, and we're like, okay, maybe Ghost of Tsushima was a bad idea, but, you know, it's kind of crazy that we're here. So thank you ever so much, everybody, for a wonderful 3 years. Obviously,
and also,
yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say our supplementary material we're also putting up is helping a lot too, with reviews and stuff like that. Thank you all again for all the support with that Octopath review.
It might have 1,000 views by the time it comes out. Neither did I, to be honest. It was very much a last minute thing where I was like, hey, I've got the review ready to go. Can you edit it for maybe and have it maybe up in like a day and a half? And I was like, you bet, I'll try. And we did. We got it up on time, and the support's been amazing. So thank you ever so much for the support.
I recorded those vocals at midnight.
And I genuinely, I edited it like the night before it went up, and I wasn't done. And then luckily, I worked from home the following day, so I used my lunch break for the final hour to just get that thing. Like, I plow in an hour. I had like an hour, and I was like, I have a third of it left, and I just plowed through it. And then it may or may not have been rendering while I was doing my work stuff in the afternoon, but we got it done, and I was like, hell yeah. I'm sure they won't mind. But, you know, thank you.
That is close to 1,000 / at 1,000 views by the time this episode is going up, which is crazy, incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Thank you all so much for that support.
Yeah, thank you ever so much, and thank you for a crazy 3 years. You know, next week. It's going to be fun next week. I'm looking forward to everybody's reactions and seeing some stuff. We've got some cool stuff planned.
Mm.
But in the meantime, as we always do in our final episode, we do have some stats for you later on in the episode. So if you are a fan of the podcast and you want to hear some awesome, well, semi-awesome, we think they're pretty awesome facts and stats and all that jazz, if you're a bit of a nerd for the stuff like that, you can listen at the end. We won't keep rambling as we do now because we do realize you guys, no one cares. You probably already skipped the timestamps. Timestamps are below if you were here for the PS4 stuff. But yeah, this week we're going to talk about some of our favorite PS4 games. It's a semi 3x3 episode, but it won't be a long 3x3 episode because I feel like we've talked about all of these games to death, but we're basically making a definitive list of our favorite games on the PS4.
Yeah,
And
now
then
that
after
we've
we've done
all
that,
moved on.
yeah, and then after that, we've got some fun stats for you all to kind of dissect and have a listen to. We like to do it every year. We like to look at what's been good, what's been bad, talk about some of our favorite moments, our least favorite episodes, you know, stuff like that. It's all fun. So we've got plenty to talk about this week. It's going to be fun. I'm so not used to having the mic here. I'm like, am I talking too loud? Am I being too quiet? It's a whole new ball game now. I'm
You
like,
get used to it.
yeah, but I'm glad we're doing it now because for those of you who are unaware, if you're on podcast, I've got a new boom arm and everything like that, so my microphone's finally in the correct place. And I got it for the new season. I was like, I better set it up this week so that if any episode has terrible audio balance, it's at least the one before the important one next week. So you know, it's fine. But yeah, we got plenty to talk about. So yeah, if you're new here, welcome to the show. We talk about video games and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're new here, follow us on your favorite podcast service, or you can just search for us for Hot Gamers Only. Look us up. We're basically everywhere. Or if you go to youtube.com/Hot Gamers Only, you can look at our stupid faces each and every week at the same time in the same place. We are slowly climbing towards 200 subscribers, and we really appreciate all the support, all the love that's been happening. We've been growing quite a bit this month, which is awesome. So if you are new, hit that subscribe button, go over there to youtube.com. Even if you are on podcasts, it really does help us grow, and it helps people realize that, hey, we should be paying more attention to them. We should give them review copies so they don't have to grind an Octopath True review out in a really short period of time. So we really appreciate it. Thank you ever so much. And yeah, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Hot Gamers Only because there'll be some fun stuff in store. Obviously, if you listen to the podcast, you'll find out everything next Monday, but might do some teasers. We'll see. Anyway, it's 3x3 time. Hunter, you came up with this idea, as always. So what are we doing?
Oh, I decided, hey, Kyle got a PS5 now. None of us are ever going to use our PS4 again.
Huzzah.
Let's make a 3x3 out of that.
You never
Let's
know. I
give it
might
a
want to play
eulogy.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate at some point in my life, Hunter. You never know. You never know. I also will use my PS4 again because recently... Oh, you can't see it very well, can you? Where is it? There it is. I got the Blu-ray of Double Fine Adventure because they were super cheap on Fangamer. This is not a promo or sub. But so I got that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I can watch it on there now instead of on YouTube or at the Internet Archive where you can just watch everything. But then I also realized that because it's an American release, it's the American Blu-ray region lock, so I'll have to change the region lock on something. So I might have to use my PS4 again. Hooray! They're good for something. So there you go. If you ever wanted a American or a European Blu-ray player, you can turn your old PlayStation because it'll just say, this is a different region. Do you want to switch? And you can. So there you go. You learn something new every day. But yeah, so we're doing a 3x3. We're going to talk about each one. Like I said, most of the time, these are all new and we have a load of discussion. These episodes usually go on for like 2.5 hours. I don't think that's going to happen this time. Can't wait to be proven wrong. But these are all PS4 games, and we've talked a lot about the PS4, obviously, over the course of the past 3 years.
It was still the current console when the podcast
still was.
started. So,
yeah.
You know.
So we have talked about these games at some point, so I'm sure it's not going to be as exciting as some of them. But hey, if you're new here, you're going to get to know our tastes pretty well with these games, I'm sure. So the way it usually works is I usually have a cap. I do not have the cap with me. I have a beanie with some random names scrunched up into it. So I will do the thing. I'm going to cover my mouth when doing this, which is really bad podcast etiquette. But I'm going to pick a name out of the hat. Can you hear that? Is that like ASMR? Can you hear that?
No.
Okay.
We
cool.
can't hear it.
I was like, I'm going to make this an audio experience for the podcast listeners, and it's just not working. So here we go. Right, who is it first? It's probably going to be me, isn't it? Who is it? Called it. It's me. Yeah,
Hey.
Of course it's me. See, that's how you know it isn't rigged. Right, so I want to do a fun game about this. I also do not have the doc open for timestamps, so if someone could do the timestamp, that would be fantastic. You're going to know a lot of these. I did try and surprise at least a tiny bit. I was like, it's not really much of a surprise. But the PS4 is an interesting one because obviously it was my main way to play third-party stuff when the PS4 came out. So there is some third-party stuff here. I didn't go with just pure exclusives.
Oh, neither
because,
did I. Don't worry.
So, it's all fine. I also do want to state that if I played a PS4 game on next gen, let me just double check. If I played a PS4 game on next gen and it had a next gen upgrade, that hasn't swayed anything. I just want to say that this is all PS4 for PS4. I did play one of these on PS5, but it had nothing changed to it, so it wouldn't have affected this anyway, regardless. Do you want to guess some of them? I feel like that's fun for my one because I feel like mine's very predictable. So I just wanted to see if anyone had a guess for any of them.
25 Royal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a gimme.
I'm not saying
That's
if
like
it's
the
right
middle
or wrong.
square in a bingo board.
I'm not saying if that's right or wrong, but okay.
Overwatch.
Okay. Any other guesses?
Red Dead 2.
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another 5.
Crash Team Racing.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna say Crash 4.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Next. Any other guesses? Any final guesses? I don't think this makes good podcast material, so I'm just trying to speed you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay, let's just go with
that's all I
it.
got.
Okay, Ethan of the editing future. If you are editing these into the video version, you guys can click reveal in 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! You were pretty much smack on with the ones you did guess.
Red Dead.
Yeah, for those of you
Oh, I
who
was
are on
Crash
audio,
Team Racing.
yeah,
Damn
for
it.
those of you on audio's podcast, my top 9 games that I would rate for the PS4 are Persona 5 Royal, Marvel's Spider-Man, Overwatch, Bloodborne, Red Dead Redemption 2, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, I'll talk about that one, Last of Us Part 2, and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Well done, Hunter. I'm very proud of you for that one. The reason it's not Crash 4, Kyle, is because I do not recommend the base version of that game. I think it's not very good. So, because the frame rate's awful.
I was thinking you were going to go with Crash 4 just because of like your history with the game.
Oh, I love Crash 4, and don't get me wrong, but my love for Crash 4 is 100% more based on having played it on PS5 afterwards, because it's in that weird spot where it came out just before the PS5 was out, because it was the September beforehand. So those first 8 days were beautiful. I loved those 8 days of Crash 4, but every single time I played it afterwards was on PS5 or on the PS5 version, like running backwards compatibility. So, and I just go back and play that PS4 version. I'm like, it's not great. Whereas the CTR. I didn't want to base it on frame rate better. I just wanted to talk about base one. So I don't know. Where do you want me to start?
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Okay.
That seems like the most interesting one.
So I feel like
out there one.
It's not out there in the slightest.
Yeah,
really.
it's not out there. If I would have racked my brain for a second, I could have been like one of the Black Ops games.
It's because Black Ops. Yeah, it's because Black Ops 3
he likes those ones.
Is the pinnacle of Call of Duty for me. It was at that perfect storm, and it's mainly because of the zombies mode. 100% because of the zombies mode. I was like, I'm talking about my top 9 video games on PlayStation 4. And in terms of multiplayer, I'm like, I'm obviously going to pick Overwatch because Overwatch is my favorite multiplayer game that's ever been made. But if I had to pick something that wasn't, I'm like, the 2 I have here are like the most time I've put into a video game on PS4 are Grand Theft Auto 5, because I play GTA Online stupid amounts with my friends. And that does have an honorable mention, but the thing about GTA is I play it for my friends. I don't particularly like GTA that much. I think it's fine. It does the job. Like GTA Online is funny because you go into a lobby with your friends and you just mess about. It's literally a mess about simulator for the entirety of my 800 hours, where you just do heists, you drive around, you do stupid things, you just make up your own game basically, and it's fun and it's great, and I have a lot of memories that I love with that game. But in terms of the single player, I don't give one at all about that video game, or playing it by myself. Wouldn't catch me playing that game by myself ever. Where Black Ops 3, I played so much of it by myself, and it's because, to me, one, I love the multiplayer. The multiplayer is great in that game. It's a shame that it's broken now and it's got hackers and all that jazz, like all old multiplayer video games. Unfortunately, um, it just had the best multiplayer combat in my opinion. It's just like it's the Future series, so it was the second advanced game where it had the exosuits, and I think it perfected it. You can wall run, you can thrust jump, you can do all kinds of stuff. It's so much fun just going around. I had so much fun. I played like so much multiplayer. But I'm a big zombies nerd. I love zombies. I love it stupid. This is why I like Kingdom Hearts, by the way. It's because I love stupidly overly complicated like storylines that make no sense but are super fun to read about and learn about anyway, regardless. And it just was the pinnacle. Like Black Ops 3 is still the best looking Call of Duty game. It still, in terms of zombies, has the best maps. I don't think we'll ever get a game like that again, where Activision's this awful company in a lot of ways, where they just churn out a load of garbage
Horrible.
year on year.
Fire
And
Bobby
they,
Kotick.
yeah, Bobby Kotick, you bastard, get out. And it's just like they make a load of garbage now, and even Treyarch just gets sent to the coal mines and is like, you'll make a shitty zombies mode for this game mode, and you'll have 2 years on your next game. Have fun grinding, monkeys. And then you're like, no. Like, I don't get this whole kind of grind monkey mentality. I don't get it. I hate it. It's stupid. And so they had this is the first Call of Duty game that ever had 3 full years of development, and you can just tell it was polished from the get-go. It was just fantastic. The zombies maps were the best they've ever made. You're never going to get a game like that again, and that's why I put Call of Duty in my top 9, Black Ops 3 in my top 9, because I know I'll never enjoy a Call of Duty game ever again, never mind as much as I like this one. It's just the way it is. It's people always clown on COD, but the thing is, there was a period between like 2010 and 2015 where even though COD was popular and everybody, loved to clown on it, the reason it was popular was because it was very good. Like, it was good. As much as I hate to say it, it was very good at what it wanted to be, and it's lost that in a lot of ways recently. So it's easy to hate on Activision. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyway. I feel like I'll mention some of the obvious ones that I've talked about all the time. Persona 5 Royal is my favorite video game of all time, so no wonder it is on here. It made me fall in love with turn-based JRPGs. I hated turn-based games. I barely can function. I think that's what's brilliant about Persona in general. Never mind Persona 5. I think Persona 5 visually does it for everybody because it makes something that is a very
it's just so cool.
slow-paced system into something that's just visually exciting to look at, even if you are doing the same thing. But I think the thing that Persona does incredibly well, regardless, is it just has combat, which is complicated in a way, but even dumb people like me can easily get their hands on it, and it feels good, so you want to learn it. And I think it's like, I have a good friend called Ed, who, for as much, bless him, as much as he likes playing video games, he is awful at video games. I'll always tell him he's awful at video games. He doesn't look at health bars in the corner of video games, like, because he can't be bothered to look in the corner. So it's like,
oh no,
he suffers with so many video games. It takes him forever. But Persona 5, for some reason, he never asked me any questions. He just got it, and it's it's not like it's not like a simple hack and slash. You'll complain about those, but Persona he just got, and I'm like, there's something about Persona that just gets it, like, just people click with it, whether they're JRPG fans or not. So I'll always love it, and it's made me go and try games that I necessarily wouldn't go and try, like Final Fantasy and stuff like that.
And that's the thing with turn-based games. Like, in combat, you can just take all the time in the world you want. It's not like you're ever going to lose your turn.
And like I say, I respect that game so much. We talked about it to death. You can check the Persona 5 Royal spoiler cache. You can take any time I've talked about Persona 5 in the past 3 years. But I'll always love the story. I'll always love the characters. I'll always love the gameplay. That game will always hold a special place in my heart. It'll be in my top 3 games probably for the entirety of my life. I'm always open to having a new favorite game, because my new favorite game usually changes every couple of years. Copium for Tears of the Kingdom, but it's like I will always love that game, and I'll always cherish it, even when I do a Greg Miller and stop my Persona 5 PS5 playthrough at like 3 dungeons in. It's like, I'll always love it. It's a great game. And then I feel like the other one that I've mentioned a lot is Red Dead 2. One of the greatest stories ever told in a video game. I love that game to pieces and back. It's just fantastic. Rockstar, just make another one of those. Fuck GTA off. Like, genuinely, I love it. It's so good. Arthur Morgan is one of the best protagonists in gaming ever. It turned it was a sequel that I was expecting to love, but not as much as the first, because I was like, I don't know how you can make a better protagonist than John Marston. And Red Dead 2 has John Marston in it. You play as somebody else and you end up liking the other person more. That's how good of a character Arthur Morgan is. And it's just like, I absolutely adore everything about that game. And it's the one game. If you could ask me, what's one game you wish got a PS5 version? That's the game. I wish there was a PS5 version of Red Dead 2. We'll never get it, but man, 60 FPS on that. Ugh. That'll turn me into a PC gamer one day. Is when that game can just be run on a potato at 60 FPS. I'll play it then. It's fantastic. Any other? Where do you want to go next? I don't know. I feel like I'm talking too much. I know it's my section, but I feel like I'm talking too much.
Tell me about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I never
Talk
expected
to
to
me.
like this game. I bought it for the podcast. This is the first game that I ever bought for the podcast, if that makes sense. Where it was like I probably wouldn't have. I played the demo because me and Hunter were starting the podcast, and I was like, I'll play it because why not? And I played it, and I was like, oh, I love this. It's like it's that perfect amount of kind of cheesiness that you get from a lot of like localized like JRPGs and stuff like that, but just with really satisfying combat and just like real like lovable characters. It's like instantly, like from that one chapter, I instantly loved Cloud, Barrett, like Jesse. I loved all of them.
The Avalanche schmoes.
The Avalanche, I loved all of them, and I was instantly like, oh god, I'm gonna have to play this because I really enjoyed it. And then when I got it, it's genuinely one of those things where it's like I'm looking forward to 16 because I'm looking forward to knowing if it was just that I really liked Final Fantasy VII Remake, or if this is something that I can get behind. Final Fantasy is like wherever whatever the setting is, whatever it is, it's just the way the games are made that I kind of like and appreciate. But 7 Remake, there's just something special about that game where I was like, I don't have any experience with the original. I just really like it. I understand that game's a bit Marmite, where some people love it, some people don't like it. And that's cool. And I kind of just like games like that, where some people like them, some people hate them. I kind of think that's cool. It's like why I really like Danganronpa V3.
Yeah.
I just kind of, it just really clicked with me, and I love all the characters, and I can't wait for the sequel that comes out this year, right, Namora? This year, right?
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Right,
Yep.
yeah, this year. Right, what else have we got? I feel like we got a couple more, haven't we?
Let's go with Spider-Man.
It's the best superhero game ever made. Like, it's like that's the reason why. It's like I'm a huge Arkham fan. I love Arkham Asylum. I love Arkham City. I even love Arkham Knight. If Spider-Man hadn't existed, Arkham Knight would have taken this spot, because I always love a good beat 'em up kind of superhero game. It's just fun to feel overpowered. Most games, most games like you make you grind to make you feel overpowered. Look at the new Assassin's Creed, where it's like you must be look at Suicide Squad, you must be power level 626 and be delayed until 2024 because your game's terrible. It's like you don't want to deal with that. Whereas Spider-Man, it starts off with a cutscene where it just chucks you in the air. You have to swing around and beat people up within literally 3 minutes, and I just love that. It's just Insomniac knows how to make fun video games. It's in their DNA, whether it's Ratchet and Clank, even Sunset Overdrive, which I didn't really click with. The gameplay was fun. I just kind of got sick of like some of the elements to it. It's like Insomniac know how to make fun video games, and Spider-Man is just fun. And also Yuri Lowenthal is Spider-Man, and he's very cool. I like that.
He's
very good
at it.
It's just the story, man. It genuinely is. It's just
the
it has
story
all
they
those
told
traits
in
of
that one was
Sony
great.
first party. It has all the traits of a Sony first party game, but with fun gameplay. And I don't mean that to kind of throw off everybody else, but it's like Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Horizon. They all, even though they feel different, they all kind of play the same, where it's the same kind of, you need the bow, you've got either a rarity system or a gear system, and you've got stuff that's better, and you've got your upgrade trees and all of that. And Spider-Man has that stuff, but also you're fucking Spider-Man, so it doesn't matter, because even on base, Spider-Man is still Spider-Man. It's still fun to play. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I've got 6 upgrade tokens. I didn't realize that I haven't been using them, that I just get something cool from it. It's a very charming game. And again, like Spider-Man 2 is one of my most anticipated games of this year, and I really hope it hits this year, because that's what I'm living for right now.
Your fantasy critic needs it.
I do. I really need it. I really need it. I do. I love it. It's great.
Uh,
And what have I got left? There's Last of Us, CTR, and Overwatch. I'll get Overwatch out of the way.
and Bloodborne.
And Bloodborne. Oh, I forgot about Bloodborne. I'll get Overwatch out of the way. Favorite multiplayer video game of all time. It came out at that perfect time where I was going to university, so I had a lot of free time where I should have been doing uni work, which I wasn't. And I got it in Christmas 2016. No one else had it. I didn't like it. I played 2 games and I put it away. And then it went on sale in the following March, super cheap. So I bullied all of my friend group to buy Overwatch. And they were all like, they're all pretty kind of, then their perception of video games is they play a lot of the normal kind of popular games. When they see something cartoony and they're like that, they're like, what is this? This is like, someone was saying, one friend is like, anything that has something that is a color that isn't gray is anime, and someone else was like, it's probably made for like children. But then everybody got addicted to it to the point where we were coming home from uni exams and we had an exam the following day, and we'd all come on and play Overwatch for 2 hours and then go, oh, I guess we should probably go and revise for these exams, see you tomorrow. But it's like, it just came out at the perfect time where if you play Overwatch with a group of friends, there is no better experience in multiplayer than playing Overwatch with a group of friends, in my opinion. It doesn't. I've played so much Overwatch and it's not good and it's not healthy. And Overwatch 2 coming out, it's been a state of a video game, and again, Activision can go fuck themselves. But
yeah,
I just have so much fun playing that game and have so much fun in that world where it's like I'll always go back to Overwatch just because I really love the game and the message and the team. And it's like, even if a shitty company makes it, right, the kind of utopian world of Overwatch where everyone can be a hero and it doesn't matter who you are, and it's kind of this really optimistic look at the future, especially when you have so much doom and gloom. It's really nice to have that kind of world, and man, I wish they'd make a TV show or a movie out of it, because like an animated movie,
or give
like,
us a campaign.
Well, hopefully with the multiplayer, the single player, which I'm losing faith in ever so more every year. I hope so, because I love the world of Overwatch. It's fab. Grand little game. How many more? 2 more? 3 more?
3 more.
Cash Banuka.
CTR's like my favorite remake of a video game ever. Like, I didn't expect
CTR's fucking hype.
I didn't. Here's the thing. I didn't like CTR that much as a kid. I liked it. It was fine. But because I didn't know how to drift, I didn't know how to do anything like that. Because I was. Bear in mind, when CTR came out in 1999, I was literally 2 years old, if that. Actually, it would have come out before my second. I was literally 18 months old, probably. I was not. Right, I didn't grow. I grew up. I grew up with this game, but I grew up with it like I did the other Crash games, backwards compatible on PS2, basically.
Yeah.
So I loved it. It was great, fun, but I didn't really play it that much when I was younger. So when I played the remake, I was like, "This is fine. I'll get into it." And then I started learning it. I got the remake. I was, "This is great. I'm gonna learn how to. I'm gonna get the platinum." Because I had the regular platinum, so I had to learn how to play the game. So I learned how to play the game. We're getting the platinum. And I was like, "This is really hard." And then I was like, but I just kept playing it. I was like, this is fun. And then the CTR Grand Prix came out where there was like a month of content. So I was like, I'll keep playing for that. This is fun. And then I got like, I was like...
And then they had you for a year.
They had me for a whole year. Literally, in the first Grand Prix, I just want people to know this, that in the first 72 hours of the Grand Prix being live, I was number 1 on the leaderboards for the first 72 hours because I just wouldn't stop playing this fucking video game. I was so addicted. I have screenshots on my phone and on my old PlayStation where there's literally photos of me at the top of the leaderboard just big chilling up there because it was just like really fun. And then the nerds who did have no free time started playing, and then they swarmed the leaderboard. But I still was always in. I got all the top 5% decals in the game. Me, Kane, Sam, a load of people would just grind Wumpa coins all the time. We'd just play that game so much. I played that game so much. I own every item in that video game. I never gave them a single dollar more than my copy. I never needed to buy microtransactions. I have 100,000 Wumpa coins still in the bank because I grinded that much. For people that didn't know, it
you should just roll up to the Activision offices one day
and ask
be
for a
like,
refund.
I want to redeem these for
How much
real
can
money.
I get for this?
Do they transfer to Crash Team Rumble? I really hope they do because I need a fucking W right now. Even if the Open Critic shit, at least give me my Wumpa coins. I just love that game to pieces. It's like Here's the thing is, NST I think is fine. I have a lot of fun with Crash 1 and 3. I still go back and play those versions of NST from time to time. Crash 2 was fucking awful. I don't talk about that, but I'm a Crash 2 speedrunner for those of you who don't know. So to me, that game feels awful because I've put so much time into the original Crash 2. I literally I can close my eyes and know how that game feels in a way where it's like I could it's just everything
Mhm.
about that game just feels kind of off to me. Even it's just not right. It's just not right. And Crash 4 I absolutely adore, but I do also agree that the PS4 version is not great, and you should probably play it on PS5. Um, but CTR, I put like 500 hours into it in a year. 500 hours. I put 800 into Black Ops 3, but that was like over the course of many years. So it's like, and Call of Duty is like, that's a social game. You go and play it with friends and stuff like that. Like the only time I ever played CTR with friends, I did play a lot of online, but it was like mostly it was one per coin weekends, boys. Everyone get in the Discord. We're gonna glitch the shit out of CTR for a couple of hours. Like
Which track is broken this week?
oh, that was my favorite part every season was
There was
just
always a new track that was getting
every
an ultra shortcut.
me
It
and
was
Kane were
so
on that
funny.
shit instantly. We were like, okay, what? It's the Thunder map, whatever that one was called. I can't remember what it was called. Thunderstruck for a while. Electron Avenue was so
Electron
funny,
Avenue.
where you used to just ram each other off of the map and then get Wumpa coins. You
Yep.
know, that one was awesome. Jungle Buggy or whatever
Jungle
it was.
Boogie.
We called it Jungle Bungle, but yeah, it was Jungle Buggy.
To insanity level.
Yeah, you just it was like a minute long, so everyone was just like fucking numing all the way like through it. There was so many. It was just working out what was the best one to play. It was just so much fun. I loved CTR. I wish they do another one. Why did you do Crash Team Rumble? You should have just done a new Crash Team Racing. That would have got everybody hype. I still think you should, Activision, by the way. I still think you should. I think that CTR
You definitely should.
is something that they should go back to, and I hope they do. I really do.
The one thing about this that I thought was really cool is how it went above and beyond just being a remake of Crash Team Racing. It also brought all of the Nitro Kart stuff forward.
Yeah.
And even
tracks.
eventually the characters from the tag team racing, right?
Every character,
started
literally the
showing
only
everything.
they literally
Yeah.
brought. They went so deep that they brought.
They
back,
gave us
like,
2 Rillaroos.
They gave us Rillaroo. People didn't like the design of Rillaroo. They redesigned Rillaroo and added him as a new character instead, just so that people could still have old Rillaroo just as a joke.
Yep.
And they called him Fixed Rillaroo. So they didn't even call the old one Broken Rillaroo. They just named the new one Fixed Rillaroo. They added a crate as a character at the end. They added they did
Chicken
everything.
King.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they also in one of the updates, they made it so that you can like customize what class your character was, like speed, acceleration,
Oh yeah, where
stuff
the
like that.
engine
So you
was.
could just play whoever you wanted.
And
It
they
didn't
added a
even
new
matter.
class
There
as
were
well
no
called
stats.
Drift. They did so much. They did so much that they didn't need to do, and it was fantastic. And like I say, Activision, a lot of the time. That's why I was really sad when Vicarious Visions went and Beanox has kind of slowed down. And Toys for Bob still seems to be alive and kicking, hopefully. And I hope Crash Team Rumble doesn't kill them, because I kind of miss that creativity. Like I genuinely do. Beanox and Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions really cared about the stuff that they made.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
just
the
kind of
thing
a shame.
That's the thing with the CTR remake. You could definitely tell that it was a labor of love. They genuinely cared about the IP they were working with.
Just like all of them.
And it wasn't just a cash grab, shell out
You
thing.
look at a lot of the remakes these days, like it's like I had the Klonoa remake and I've seen the Pac-Man remakes and stuff like that. They very much are like the SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom remake. They are kind of like they're made because people like them, but you can tell that they're being made because remakes were kind of the thing to do right now. And it's the same way with the Insane Trilogy originally. It was very much made with budget assets and kind of looks a bit like it was just cobbled together. But there was some passion there because they made some new levels. But then with Reignited and CTR and Crash 4, you really started seeing a above and beyond kind of representation of trying, because they really cared, like Toys for Bob. They didn't have to make all of the dragons in Spyro 1 unique models, but they did for the Spyro 1 remake. They didn't have to, it was like stuff like that. CTR, they did not have to add all these characters. They did not have to add Von Clutch and Pasadena to CTR, but they did. I mean, the only crime they committed was not adding Willy Wumpa Cheeks. What the fuck? He better be in Crash Team Rumble, baby. Come on.
He'll
It's
be the final prize you're competing
I
for in
honestly
that
think
game.
that I'm honestly hoping that there's a
Willy
story
Wonka
mode or
Cheeks
something
League.
in it. Yeah, I
Ugh.
really hope there's a story mode or something like an arcade mode in it, and the final boss is Willy Wonka Cheeks. That's like my prayer. Toys for Bob, please, please, you can be a 62 on Open Critic. Just have Willy Wonka Cheeks. I beg you. Thank you.
Hiddly hiddly ho.
To last place you will go on the Fantasy Critic. But yeah, I special shout outs to all the remake projects that Toys for Bob and the Beanox did and all that jazz, because they were all fantastic. But CTR, above and beyond. I think there's
Alrighty.
two left. There's a
Think so.
depressing one and
A more
Nightmare.
depressing one.
Yeah. You chose the
let's
two
go with
joyous ones last. Yeah.
The Last of Us, I guess.
The last was part 2. It should specify it's part 2.
Yeah.
Is an amazing game that I don't know if I'll ever play ever again. Because
Hey.
as an experience, it's like incredible, because it's a HBO Max show, bro. Like, it genuinely is. Like, I can't wait for seasons 2 and 3 of the show, because I feel like that's gonna be my favorite way to experience the story, because it's like, the thing with part 2 is the gameplay is miles above part 1. Everything that I hate
Sure
about
is.
Last of Us Part 1's gameplay is fixed in part 2. But the game's so long that I get sick of the gameplay by about halfway through, because it's 30
The
hours long
pacing
and
is
I
bad.
don't need this. Yeah, because the pacing's pretty bad. But in terms of a story, it's like, you don't necessarily kind of enjoy the story, because there's a lot of tough shit in there. It's not an easy story to digest, and that's what I think I love about it, is you go on this emotional roller coaster and you don't necessarily get a payoff, but it's just so powerful in what it does. And I mean, I liked Last of Us Part 1. I never really got why it was so beloved. Because I loved the cutscenes and I loved the story, and we haven't really talked about the HBO show because it's not finished, and I still haven't caught up. But I love that show a lot from what I've seen so far, because it takes out the boring gameplay I don't care about and leaves you with, and it just adds stuff that's incredible that I would wish was in the game. Like the episode 3, the Bill and Frank episode.
Like Pedro Pascal.
And Pedro Pascal, I absolutely love. I want to give a shout out to Troy Baker, because he's in episode 8. And I told my parents, because they were watching episode 8, I was like, because Troy Baker's on the screen, I'm like, you know who that is, Dad? Because he's played it. And he was like, no. I'm like,
yeah.
that's the guy that played Joel in the game. And he's like, cool. And my mum was like, he could have played Joel. Like, he's like, I'm like, and to be fair, and I'm like, he could have. He does look like he could have played Joel, because he does look like they roughed him up. They turned Troy Baker, who is a very, LA man. Yeah, he's an LA man. There's nothing wrong with Troy Baker's face in that regard. It is very polished. But he does look like a beat up kind of person, where it's like he looks like he could have played Joel, and I'm like, yeah, but Pedro Pascal's also too good as well. So I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm like, I would have been mad if anybody other than Pedro Pascal played Joel in The Last of Us, because Troy could have very easily have done it. But yeah, I just love that. And also just all, like, there are some scenes in that game that honestly, like, I rarely cry. There's certain games that I do cry at, and most of the time it's endings, right? But there's very rarely, there's just some scenes where I just have to stop because it's too mentally exhausting, kind of. And there's so many of those in part 2. And a lot of them do include Troy Baker. But the second to last scene in that game, I know we talked about it a lot on the Spoiler Cast Hunter, but that second to last scene that fucking broke me. It's like, people always talk about the final scene in The Last of Us Part 1 as being like, an amazing scene. And I love that scene, but my favorite scene in any Last of Us thing is that second to last scene of The Last of Us Part 2. I don't want to spoil it, because I know people, it's still relatively recent and there's a HBO show, so I shouldn't spoil things for the normies. But
not.
It's beautiful, man. And it's like, I genuinely, I don't know if I'll ever play it again. I don't think I'll ever be emotionally ready to play that game again. But it's special. I do really like it. And I feel like, again, it's a Marmite kind of game. I like Marmite kind of games, if people haven't noticed. I really like I think it's mainly because I just like drawing my own opinion. I don't like it when games are universally praised or universally hated, because then my mind goes in on that thing with it being like a universal thing. My
Yeah.
mind kind of goes in a bit skew if. Whereas if something's a bit controversial, I get to make my own mind up on it, and most of the time I kind of like it because it usually means you have to think. I'm sorry, but it's kind of true. And then Bloodborne's epic. There you go. That's my
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure
favorite.
is.
Bloodborne is sick.
I love Bloodborne. FromSoft games was something that I wasn't into. Hunter was like, "You should really try and play Bloodborne." And I was like, "Fine, just for you." And I ended up really
Just
jiving
for
with
you,
it in the
babe.
end. Just for you. I played it in 2 days and it was fantastic. And I like FromSoft. I like FromSoft things quite a bit. I've only played that in Elden Ring. And I have the same problem with all FromSoft games, where I don't like it for the first hour, but once I get over the hatred part, I actually really start to enjoy them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But Bloodborne is just, there's something about that world, and I know, again, it's universally loved, but I do know in the FromSoft community that some people don't like Bloodborne because they don't like its kind of atmosphere. But I just love it. I think it's really.
Oh.
I love the Lovecraftian horror kind of thing.
Imagine liking just the dark fantasy stuff. It's all like pretty garden variety dark fantasy stuff. But
Yeah.
being like, oh no, vampires and pointy buildings, that's bad.
Yeah, they don't like the hunter's nightmare of the blood, of the foul omen of the
Ugh.
demon, of the nightmare of the blood. Yeah, it's great. But I don't know. I really do like Bloodborne. It's a really funny, and I went back recently and played the DLC, and I think the DLC is also fantastic.
The DLC is arguably even better than the base game. Like it's just a truncated version of it. In
And
a
I
lot
also,
of ways.
I'm gonna have to brag on you fools that I first tried Orphan of Kos, and I just want to say that that's the greatest achievement of my life, and I'm so proud. It's one of those moments where I was like, Mom, I beat Orphan of Kos first try, and she was like, "What the hell's that?"
Good for
And I
you.
was like, "You don't need to know, but you just need to be proud, because that's probably the greatest accomplishment of my fucking life right there." So it is what it is. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to look it up, I'm afraid, because that's the greatest
no.
achievement. It's the greatest achievement I have. It's
Imagine
funny as
the
well.
curiosity being piqued after you have that conversation, and your mom goes and looks up the introduction to the Orphan of Kos with its gross leg crawling out of Kos's
I just think it's really funny because I played the whole DLC twice because I lost a weapon, so I deleted my save so I could play through the entirety of the DLC again. So I got to Orphan of Kos, I was like, I'm gonna have to beat Orphan of Kos, and it was like I can either
and
beat
come
him
back.
and then do the whole of the game again, do a third of the DLC to get that weapon I missed, or I can get my cloud save back from when before I started the DLC, do the entirety of the DLC again, and then fight Orphan of Kos. So I was like, you know what, it's gonna take me hours to beat Orphan of Kos, so I'm just gonna bite the bullet and do the DLC again. And then I first tried him, and I was like, well, there you go, then. That's just how it is. I also want you guys to know that I don't remember, was it not Ludwig? Was it Ludwig? I don't remember which one it was. No, it's the third boss. It's like the optional boss of the DLC. I died to him like 17 times or something ridiculous. So it was like, I'm not that skilled. It was just very much
Lawrence?
luck. Yeah, Lawrence. I died to Lawrence.
He
so
killed
many
me more
times.
than Orphan too.
Yeah, because he's a dick. His
Yeah.
bottom half explodes halfway through, Kyle. He's just lava everywhere. Absolute
I'm crawling
knobhead.
and my blood's made
Yeah.
of lava.
Yeah,
You can't
absolute
touch
dickhead.
me.
Absolute dickhead.
It's made of lava.
Don't like him. All my homies hate him. Get out.
Yeah,
Get out,
Lawrence
Lawrence.
killed me more than Orphan too, and I did not like Lawrence.
Screw you, Lawrence. Anyway, that's my 3x3, everybody. Wow. That took longer than we thought. So
It only took half an hour.
It only took half an hour. See? It's fine. We're on to our
Yay.
episode right here. It's good. It's good.
There's
Next
still
up.
more after the 3x3s.
Right. Okay, everybody. I've got another one. Write down that timestamp
Oh.
because whose time is it? It is.
Oh,
You are
wow.
shitting me.
Hunter's going
You-
last.
you are-
Who could have seen that coming?
I hate this every fucking time.
You can't keep getting
Every
away with it.
time.
It's-
I hate this, bro. Like genuinely.
I like how this used to be
Baloney.
I like how this used to be a point of contention about just who has to go first, and now it's like, as long as Hunter doesn't go last.
Like, right? Okay, you ready, Kyle?
Yeah. So actually, one thing I do want to mention, I didn't care about exclusives. This is just like, these are 9 games that when I think about the PS4, these are what'll
Well, you
come
know,
to mind for me.
Same way.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Just needed that disclaimer thrown out there.
Well, disclaimer:
All right.
they are all PC games. Right, three.
It's so true, bestie.
Right, yeah, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I can see we have
What?
some similarities here, which
What are
I
you
feel.
whatting about?
The
I feel like
Dissidia one. Where did that
right.
come from? That's not
Don't-
real.
So
Shh, we'll talk about it.
do you want to read out all 9 of them, Kyle, for for the good fan
Yeah.
audio listener folk?
Yeah, so I've got Kingdom Hearts 3, Dragon Quest XI-S, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition,
Good, well,
Guilty
great
Gear
name.
Strive, Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, Resident Evil 2, Base Persona 5, Soul Calibur 6, and also Bloodborne, because Bloodborne is epic.
So I mean, I feel like we should
Nice.
start with the ones that cross over from mine.
So my experience with Bloodborne is that
The blood of the cursed nightmare demon is
Instead of Hunter telling you to play it and being like, all right,
was
you had
kinda-
Hunter and Ethan telling you to play it for
it's because I felt peer pressured from Hunter, Ethan, and Sam. And I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll try it. I tried it for like 2 hours, put it down for 6 months, and came back to it later, and then
Yeah.
actually finished it, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's great.
There's just something about
the
it.
FromSoft experience.
The FromSoft experience. Something about, and like, this was my surprise favorite game of last year. I was not expecting to like this game as much as I did. But
It's really funny because that's the same way I felt about Bloodborne the year when I played it, where I was like, that's probably at the top of my backlog list of last year. Like, I did not expect to really
Yeah.
jive with it that much, but I did. It was fantastic.
there's just something about the world and the atmosphere that like I haven't seen replicated in
Oh, it's just
any
so
other
cool,
game. It just
man.
feels so unique. And again, just like Ethan, I have only played from my FromSoft backlog. I've only played Bloodborne and Elden Ring.
Well, you're playing through
And
Elden Ring right now.
ye sure am.
That is spoilers.
It is an experience. We'll
How far
talk
through
about
are
it when
you?
I'm done.
Don't tell me. I don't know opinions. I just want to know what was the last boss you fought.
I'm at the Mountain of the Giants.
Oh, you're pretty far through.
Morgat was the last boss I beat.
Yeah, you're pretty far through. Are you going to play? Are you going to go and find what's her name?
I don't know.
Melania.
I don't know.
She's optional, but she's the hardest FromSoft boss ever made.
I don't know. She's like every other boss in that game. It's hard because she just throws out a million
Oh,
moves.
she's a Sekiro boss in a Dark Souls game.
Oh, epic. Anyways,
Took me
Bloodborne.
hours. Anyway, Bloodborne.
Bloodborne's sick. The gun is dope. I love the gun parrying. That's my favorite part of that game. That's why I kept playing it.
Yep.
And, I think it's the perfect length of a video game. It's like 10, 15 hours. It's a perfect chunk.
If you yeah. I need to, like I say, I need to get on my Dark Souls backlog a bit more. Because I still have, Demon Souls, I guess, will be my next one. Because I've got that, the trilogy, and then Sekiro still to go. And it's like Yakuza in a way, where it's like, it's such a daunting list. Because it's like, I'll probably enjoy all of these games. But also, there's 6 bajillion of them. And unlike, there's 2 types of people.
They'll
There's
take
one,
a long time.
Yeah, there's 2 types of people. There's people that can play the entirety of a franchise back to back to back to back to back to back, like they're binging a Netflix show. And then there's people like me who have to go and take a break and play something else, because if I play too much of the same, I get very much bored and I know I'll never come back. So it's very...
You need that palate cleanse. I'm right there
do.
with you, man.
Which is why I'm like, should I go back to Yakuza 2 now? Because I played Psychonauts 1 and 2 in the gap between and watched an entire documentary. Well, 2 documentaries, I guess, about game development. I'm like, is that enough? Is that much of a palate cleanser or not? I don't know. But no, that's good. And also, you've got base Persona 5, because you haven't played Royal. You've only watched Royal.
I have not played Royal. But also, even if I did play Royal, I think I'd probably still put base P5 on here just because I really enjoyed the experience I had with base P5, and I don't think Royal would really match that. With base P5, this is a game that I picked up summer of 2017, and it was just a game that I like gradually chipped at over the summer between college semesters. I'd come home from work and just like chip away at it little by little, and it was just a fun experience. I really enjoyed watching the story just slowly unravel. It was basically like I was watching a Netflix show.
Oh, dude, it is.
Just like getting these own little individual chapters at a time. Sometimes staying up later than I should have because of that stupid catchy boss fight on the boat.
Dude, I've
being 9 phases long.
I'm
I was up
telling you, I'm
until
gonna
like
have to
2
quit.
a.m. getting that done.
When Persona 6 eventually shows up, whatever job I'm in, I will have to probably quit or take like 2 weeks off because like my Persona schedule, I like go full on degen where I'm like I like you guys know what I used to do. I used to like I started playing at like 9 p.m. and then I'd stop playing at around 4 to 6 a.m. Then go
Mhm.
to bed, wake up because I was off because it was like college vacation. I was like can't wait to do the same thing every night. That's literally what I did for like a month, and it was great. I had a fantastic time.
It was very
Oh yeah.
fortunate for me that when I replayed the game, when I got Royal, I was between my jobs there for
You
the
got
couple of
lucky. It was like the
weeks.
perfect
Yeah,
schedule.
yeah, it was perfect because I had just finished Ghost of Tsushima and come back from my little excursion, and I was like, ah, yes, time to play this. And I still even have like the final bit of the game to do in the first week of work, but thankfully I was done by like Wednesday. You know, I was only staying up later than I should have, like 2 days there, at least for the sake of Persona.
Like I say, it's one of those games that kind of I hate always bigging it up because I know I'm a massive Persona
Mhm.
shill. But it is one of those games that kind of transcends barriers when it comes to it being like people always talk about. There's been this discussion the past couple of weeks, obviously, about what a JRPG means and is it kind of a, you know, I don't know. Is it kind of an offense to segregate that because everyone's like JRPG? Some people have stigmas about
Yeah.
terrible stories or like cliches or stupid voice
Grindy.
acting or grinding or certain comment. But it is one of those things where even people that I know that don't like anime and don't really care for RPGs like that, when I literally I have a friend who is very much does not like anime, thinks it's very much cringe because he had a friend in high school that was way too into it, so it put him off it for the rest of his life. And he just doesn't like that kind of game. 90 hours, why would I do that? He played through all of it and loved it. It's like one of those games where I just feel like it's a JRPG for non JRPG fans in a way, and it's like
Exactly.
it's
It's
why
the
I
kind of
think
thing that like it's the kind of game I think anybody can pick up and have a good time with,
yeah,
regardless of your skill level or your exposure to video games.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, exactly. Right. Anyway, those two out of the way.
All
Uh,
right. Where are we going?
well, I'll go with this one
Uh,
first. I want to go to Kingdom Hearts 3 first
Okay.
because I know that you weren't particularly fond of the base game for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Correct.
he's not particularly fond of modern video games either, so
Eh,
you
I
know.
don't, I don't know what you're. I feel like Kyle has done a lot of work on this, especially this year. But
I'm really
especially
trying.
he's trying. But I think he's getting into it more. He's
Yeah,
playing more modern-ish
I played Dead
games.
Space this year, Hunter.
He's been
That's
yeah,
playing.
something I
fair
never
enough.
would have
He's
done
been playing the modern Resident
years
Evils as
ago.
well. He's been playing the model Resident
Yeah.
Evils. And he's
Yeah.
doing stuff. He's doing stuff. He's
So,
going.
anyways, Kingdom Hearts 3, longtime listeners of this show will know this is a game I've been kind of harsh on, maybe to a unfair degree.
Don't worry. So was the entire Kingdom Hearts community. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I was the only person that spoke the truth. I was the prophet. I was like, yo, guys, if you're just not cringe, you might have some fun. And that's all I'm saying. And I had fun. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but you also have admitted openly to triggering the ingredients lines, and
Dude,
that's a war
like,
crime.
no. Right, people, I'm sorry, but I am of the personal belief that if people clown on the ingredients lines, like you look at the Donkey video where he played it like 6 million times, if you're playing that 6 million times, then I'm sorry, you're like me. You actually like that secretly. You secretly love it because you keep playing it. Because you're saying it's stupid, and I agree it's stupid, but I love how stupid it is. So I loved walking to and from ingredients and hearing Donald Duck saying that shit. It was hilarious. I just admit that I'm incredible, that it's incredible. You guys are just fakes. Just embrace it. Just embrace the cringe. Anyway, the DLC came out. It had some fun bosses.
Correct, but I'm not actually going to talk about that. I want to talk
Oh,
about my experience with base Kingdom Hearts
okay.
3. So when this game came out, I was in my third year of college, second semester of the third year, and I was fortunate enough where my roommate was actually gone for the weekend it came out. So what I did was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I live streamed my entire playthrough of this game.
Damn,
That is
bro.
all of the VODs are up on my YouTube channel. You can check them out if you want. If you've ever wanted to hear me sing Let It Go with the audio desynced, that's up there.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah.
Nice.
And honestly, that was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. Even if there was only like 5 people in my chat room at a time, it was just fun to just sit down with this game, just do focus on nothing else, no schoolwork or anything, just play this game. It was a lot of fun. Kingdom Hearts 3 is the kind of game that I throw into the same bucket as a game like Skyward Sword, where I loved my first playthrough, but any repeat playthrough, I can't replay this game. Just it was fun on a first playthrough, but after a while, on repeat playthroughs, it's the kind of thing that shows its problems for me. But I still think the base game as an experience is a very, very fun for a first time.
That's why I. That's why I'm looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 4 again. I don't think any of
Mhm.
the Kingdom Hearts games, in my opinion, like a lot of people grew up with them, so they love replaying them and stuff like that. But someone who wasn't into it and isn't hugely into kind of hack and slash beat 'em up kind of games, it's like it's a one and done experience where it's like, okay, I don't know where this
Yeah.
stupid train is going, but I ride the
Mhm.
train, I have a good time riding the train, I laugh at the train, and then I get off at the next station, and then I wait
Mhm.
patiently for the next train, and just like the UK rail system, it's been delayed approximately 6 years, and you're waiting a long time. I love Kingdom Hearts. I goof about it. I take the mick out of it all the time, but I really do like love it in a way of I have nostalgia for Kingdom Hearts even though I only played it in 2018
Mhm.
stroke 19. It is one of those things where I do treat these characters like Sora and Riku and Kairi as if they're something I grew up with in a weird way. It has that magical effect where even though if you embrace that you would have loved it as a stupid 8-year-old, then you can still have that inner stupid 8-year-old in you.
Mhm.
Like whenever you play it, if you just go into it with that, this is a game I would have played when I was 8, and I would have loved
Yeah.
it because it's really stupid and goofy. And I still have that kind of feeling where I'm like, I love how look how much of an edgelord Riku is, and I just love how stupidly optimistic and how terrible Sora's voice acting is at times. And you just kind of, or how insignificant Kairi is, and you just wish that she had literally anything to do. And you're just like, wow, I love this series. It's stupid, it's goofy. I can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Me
It's
too.
it's fun. Anyway, Hunter, where do you want to go?
Um, I don't know. I feel like you could probably talk about Guilty Gear and BlazBlue like simultaneously.
Do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, these two are pretty cut from the same cloth here. We're gonna start with BB Tag, Blaze Blue Tag Battle, because this was the game that got me into Arxis games and anime fighters.
Ooh.
Um, so during COVID pandemic, when you're stuck inside and there's nothing else to do, you say, "Well, I haven't played this game in a while. Let's actually sit down and try and figure it out."
Damn.
Lo and behold, it took over my entire year of 2020. This game. So initially, I just bought this game because of IP appeal, because of Persona 4 and Ruby. It's crossover between Persona 4 Ruby, Blaze Blue, and the Under Night franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked it up just because of Persona 4, and I was getting into Ruby at the time. Um, and I ended up putting in far too much time into this. Like Ethan with Overwatch,
Didn't
yeah,
you have it on the Switch first too?
I sure did.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you
bought it
double
on the
dip.
Switch,
You're a filthy double dipper.
double dipped, and I even got the plat on the PS4.
I
Oh
also have
no.
I also have the platinum in a stupid game that I put way too much time into. I have the Overwatch plat, which is absolutely dog shit.
That
Would not recommend that experience to
mm.
anybody.
But
But
yeah,
you know,
eventually I had to switch over to the PS4 version because the Switch version, one, the player base was dying, and two, rollback netcode update was coming out only to the PS4 and PC
hell
version
yeah,
because
brother.
the Switch's infrastructure can't handle it.
Hell yeah.
So, but no, this game was a lot of fun. Even if the community was super small, it was fun going into the lobby and seeing the same names over and over again.
Yeah, what are you
Yeah,
up to today,
You feel like
Smitty?
you know them even though you don't.
just
You're
seeing
like,
all
oh
my
hell
seeing all
yeah.
my buddies and all the people who pitch a fit in the chat box, but we don't talk about them.
Yeah.
You gotta love the chat, dude. You
Uh,
gotta love the chat.
so then there's Guilty Gear Strive,
Mm-hmm.
a natural progression. So BB Tag, I think that's a game anyone can play. It's very simple to pick up and play. Every command input is done with quarter circle, forward or backwards, and a
Right.
button. It's very simple. Anyone can pick up and play. Guilty Gear Strive, on the other hand, was my introduction to the Guilty Gear franchise. And for a while, I was wondering if I even liked this game because I wasn't picking it up as naturally as I did with BB Tag.
Hmm.
But a lot of time later, I still love this game and I still blast the soundtrack all the time because it's a banger soundtrack. And I'm convinced that if I played any of the older Guilty Gear games as a child, it definitely would have messed up my brain. But yeah, Guilty Gear's dope. Also, I think it's on Xbox and Game Pass now.
Oh hell yeah! I
Actually,
love
both of
that.
these are.
I love that good old shill for Microsoft. It's the best value in gaming, everybody.
It
Remember that.
is.
According to people. It is if
And
you
Guilty
play
Gear.
video games. Let me tell you, dude. Let me tell you. If you own an Xbox and you're fine with just playing games on Xbox, it's great value. If you're like me and you're just stupid and you're just like, yo, I could play this on Xbox or I could pay money for it on PlayStation. I'm like, dumbass. Like, it's great.
Yeah. Guilty Gear Strive, it's a commitment, but I think it's super
I think
worth it
all
to
fighting
to
games
get
are a
into.
commitment.
I mean,
That's the
yes,
thing.
they all are. Yes,
You
they
either
all
buy
are.
them and play it for 8 hours and then drop it and go, I had a fun time, or you play it for 6 million hours and you get stressed at the rank mode. It's one or the other.
No, Strive is fun. There's crossplay in it now, so you can play it against anyone on any console, PC, PlayStation, Xbox,
I
not the
mean,
Switch.
do you want to talk
Frick the
about?
Switch.
Do you want to play?
Heck
Do you want
the
to talk about
Switch.
Soul Calibur while we're on the fighting game topic?
Oh, Soul
That's a good
Calibur.
character
I like
creator,
that one a
eh?
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, Soul Calibur 6, the character creator.
yeah.
That's just all I use it for now.
Yeah, that's
But
genuinely.
back in college, I had a friend with a PS4 and a copy of this game, and that was just a ton of fun, dude. This game owns.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing more to really say about it. Like it
It's
was my
like
first
one
Soul
of the
Calibur
only
game.
fighting games that come out these days that actually gives you a lot of things to do on your
Yeah.
own instead of, oh, you either get good at the online or you suffer.
Online is the only mode. Like
Or,
besides
if it's a
LAN
Mortal
arcade.
Kombat, you get a mediocre story too.
Yeah.
Soul
What are
Calibur,
you on
on the other
about?
hand.
We love Mortal Kombat stories. They always make sense.
Oh,
They're
they
always
are
great.
so bad, man.
They're always great. Don't know what you're on about.
But Soul Calibur gives you a lot of stuff to do. It's
Mhm.
always been a series I've enjoyed quite a bit as well. If Soul Calibur 6 would be like my favorite in the series if there was a Switch version that gave me Link.
Well, you'll have to settle for Soul Calibur
Alright.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the GameCube.
Hell yeah. Hunter, you can pick. I said Soul Calibur. How many more have we got? We got a couple more.
What do we got?
3 more?
We've actually been blasting through these.
All
so
right.
Well, half
Let's
of
just
them were
stick with
fighting
the
games.
fighting game nonsense.
Half of them were
and
fighting games and
finish
half
off
of them were on
the
mine. Yeah.
This is
finish
true.
off the fighting game silliness with the Final Fantasy Dissidia.
This is true. The PS4 really just turned into my fighting game machine.
I think we can tell.
Now, Dissidia is interesting to talk about because I didn't grow up with the PSP Dissidia game, which everyone loved. I only had this one that I picked up because I heard the people said the PSP one was good, so I tried this one. But no, this game, I enjoyed my time with it. I think it's super cool. It was weird that it's like a 3v3 open arena fighter where your whole team shares each team gets 3 lives as an
Mhm.
so if any team has a member that goes down 3 times, then that team loses. It was a weird concept, but I think it kind of worked. I don't It's also just like a fun little love letter to Final Fantasy. Seeing all the story mode was super cool, and it was cool getting to see these characters interact with each other, who normally wouldn't. And especially seeing characters like Noctis, who's just dressed up like a normal dude around people wearing full suits of armor. Just
Yeah.
that
That's what he does
dichotomy.
anyway.
Just
That's what he does anyway.
it just
fine.
it just amuses me. No, I think the
Good old
game's
Final
super
Fantasy
cool.
15.
Yeah,
And I think
I've always wanted to try out the one on the PSP,
Mhm.
if for no other reason than to hear that sweet song they got for the final boss. But
Mhm.
yeah,
It's all cool. It's all
I
good.
don't know.
Right.
It's a
Anyway,
decisive game, but or divisive game, but I enjoyed my time with it. Servers are shut down now, so you can't even play it online.
well,
But
there you go.
you
Then.
know,
Fun
whatever.
over. Square Enix,
Fun
classic
over.
Square Enix. Was fun over.
That's okay. I'm sure they'll make a probably broken port of one of the old ones,
I
and then
can't wait,
eventually
dude.
this one.
Make it run like a slideshow.
Yeah.
And then finally, let's well, not second, penultimately, should I say? Let's talk about everyone's
vocab
favorite
word.
long ass title that everybody remembers off by heart. Let's do it all together, right? Dragon Quest
Dragon Quest
11
Quest
11
X.
Elusive
Because of
Echoes of
Echoes of
Elusive
Elusive
Age
Age.
Definitive Edition.
Definitive Edition. Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Was this
If
your
you
first
just
Dragon
want,
Quest?
this is my first Dragon Quest. And if you want a video game with a lot of content that will take you a long time to finish, play this video game. There is a lot to do in this game.
I thought you were just gonna put a period at the end of it. If you just want a video game.
And then you were
This
like,
is it. This
but it's
is
super
video games, the
long.
video game.
And I was like, bro, have I ever
Uh.
told you that I couldn't be arsed with Assassin's Creed Valhalla? You think I'm gonna play this shit, bro? Like, God. Your boy couldn't. I don't know. The older I get, and this is funny coming from someone whose two favorite games are Breath of the Wild and Persona 5. I just like longer games just seem like so much work. There are so many
They
long
really
games
are.
in my backlog because I always go, I could play that, or I could play the
Or I
10-hour
could play like
one.
4 other
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
in the time that I could play this.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
so it's like, I don't know. Dragon Quest.
Give me
is-
a 10-hour game
Yeah, like
any
Dragon
day of the week.
Quest is like when you're talking about like classic JRPG, Dragon Quest is like
This is about as classic as you can
classic
get.
as you can go. Especially when you look at, other classic franchises like,
Final
Final
Fantasy has
Fantasy
evolved
that
over
has
the
evolved.
years.
Dragon Quest is just
Dragon
evolved
Quest has
graphically.
not.
Well, it's evolved
Yeah.
graphically, but not like anywhere
Not
else. Yeah.
gameplay.
Yeah, like people who liked Dragon Quest back in the day, I'm sure probably aren't as annoyed as with the direction of the series as people who liked Final Fantasy back in the day
Yeah.
are with how that's trended from the PS3 and onward.
I don't know. It's
Hmm.
always I like stuff like that, and also I think there's some games that recycle a lot of stuff also, but also don't kind of freshen themselves up a lot like Dragon Quest does. Like the Dragon Quest games always, come out looking as they always look modern. They're just very,
Yeah.
classic to play. It's not like Yakuza where I played Yakuza Kiwami and I was like, that animation's the same from Zero. And you look it up and they're like, buddy, that animation's been the same since like original Yakuza 3. We've just been reusing that shit forever. And it's like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, I respect that, to be honest. That's quite funny. But no, I remember you talking about Dragon Quest 11. You really liked it when you played it.
I did.
You didn't stop playing it, which was quite funny.
Yeah.
Because when you get into a game, you commit.
And also it's in the PlayStation catalog, it's free to download.
Oh, woo!
So if y'all even
Woo.
just want to like test drive this game,
Is that in the collection?
Yeah.
It's only available till May.
No,
Or
it's
is that
no,
in
this
the
is always
subscription?
available
Oh,
it's in the
subscription.
with the
tier
subscription.
2
It's available
hoopla.
for now.
Yeah, for now.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
You better play it now, or else it'll disappear. You don't want it. You don't want it to go out of Jim Ryan's catalog.
Or worse, if you wait until it's about to go and then you start it, you'll be like halfway done and then they'll get rid of it.
Or if you just wait
It's
a little
okay, it
longer,
goes
it'll
on
cost
sales a
like
lot.
Yeah, it'll be like
It
£2
does.
soon. Don't worry. You know how games are. But no, that's awesome. And then finally, another shock, another thing that you got.
Another surprise favorite from last year, Resident Evil 2 remake.
Ooh.
For a long time, this was something that had been on my radar, wanting to try, but I just, for some reason, never got around to it until last year. But man, Ethan, shut up.
Ethan says with his
Why don't
zero
you go play
horror game
Resi 2?
experience.
I'm a coward.
Good.
I want to play them one day, but
You
I'm
really
too
should.
much. I'm too much of a scaredy cat. I don't like jump scares. Like I genuinely don't. I will never enjoy horror films ever because I just don't like that kind of stuff. I don't know. I get stressed about anything. I don't need to be in a stressful situation. I get stressed at regular
Listen,
things.
man, you could probably just wing it.
You really could.
I've
Yeah.
gotten really good at just winging it in these games.
Yeah, I can, but it's also one of those things where if something's like chasing me in a video game, most of the time I have to pause and go, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, and then just like try and calm down. And I realize YouTube algorithm is not gonna like that, but it doesn't matter. I'm trying to think of the podcast, guys, but no, I just
Yeah, save
don't
it for
do
next
well.
season.
And so everybody else, yeah, oh yeah, that's right. It's the end of the season. It doesn't matter now. I can get all of my F words out whenever I want. Clean Ethan shows up next week. No, but it's just like I don't deal well in those kinds of situations. I have to pause it and go, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? YouTube it up or whatever, because I just don't deal well under pressure. My pressure is just like awful. So it's like the idea of playing Resident Evil, I wouldn't necessarily hate it. It's the fact that I know that something's going to be chasing me down a lot of corridors or around. It's like I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
worry,
to
Mr.
be
X goes
fair,
away after a while.
2 is the only one where the pursuit enemy is actually even threatening.
Yeah,
Like in
this is true.
7, for the little bit I played of that, I definitely clowned around on, the guy that does it there. I was like, he grabbed me, and I'm like, you didn't even. I was able to back up from him slowly before he took a swing at me, and then in 8, Dimitrescu, also not very threatening while she's pursuing you.
Well,
Yeah,
people were trying to get
Nemesis is
caught by her, which was a bit like, I'm like, come on, guys. I know you're down bad, but this is just like people were just walking towards her. They were like, hello.
This is down horrendous.
Hello.
Oh.
But no, I don't know. You playing it and you liking it has made me think, hey, maybe one day I'll try a Resident Evil game just to try and dip my toes
Maybe
in.
maybe you don't have to be psychotic to like it.
No, not necessarily. It's just like everybody that I know that plays Resident Evil likes horror. Where it's like my dad plays Resident Evil. He likes Resident Evil, but my parents are massive like horror fans where they'll watch a load of horror films even if they're terrible. They'll just watch horror films because they get a kick out of it even if the film's terrible, right? Whereas I'm like,
Yeah.
I will never watch horror films ever. If I was in a relationship or whatever, and they're like, kind of, there's the people that like love horror films, I'll be like, this relationship's over. I'm not doing this. This is not. I'm not standing down on this one. Some people will be like, yeah, I guess I'll just shit myself for the rest of my life. I'm like, nope, I'm good. Thank you. See you next time. Anybody that doesn't like horror films, hello. It's just not.
But no, Resi 2, Resi 2. It's got. So I played it on like super casual mode with aim assist turned on.
Oh hell yeah!
I think that was like ideal for me because I'm awful at shooters.
It's true.
I panic when I have to aim manually. This is why I didn't jive with Horizon.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, like I said, Resi 2, it's definitely like it has its moments, but it's really kind of low on the horror bar. There was one moment where I think it was when Mr. X showed up that I just got a good kick at, a good laugh at because
Oh man.
I saw him, I panicked, I shot him with an explosive flame round, and I got an achievement for knocking off his hat.
Oh yeah. He doesn't like it when you do that. It makes him angry.
After that moment, Mr. X wasn't threatening anymore.
Oh man.
Nah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like I say, I probably will at some point. I don't know. I like to say, I don't know what my scare threshold is. Maybe I'll play Resi 4, but I also feel like there'll be something in that that'll shit me up. It's like some people. It's like I watch the gameplay and I'm like, there's nothing particularly scary here. Like I watched the Resident Evil 4 demo this week. And it's like, people are going, oh god, they're like panicking over this chainsaw guy. And I'm like, watching it, I'm not scared in the slightest of this chainsaw man. But I'm like, if he's chasing me, would I be more scared or annoyed because he keeps killing me? I don't know which one it would be. But I
Or
also don't
both.
want to find out. Yeah, or both. And I don't want to find out.
I feel like at first it'll be the adrenaline, and then anytime afterwards, it's just annoyance.
But which is why I'm like, maybe I would like Resident Evil because it's not that Five Nights at Freddy's crap where it's just like
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're just
a
waiting
lot
for
of
something to jump in your face. I
is
know there will be a jump scare or
two,
two.
especially. There's a lot of the like spooks. It's mostly just building up in the quiet moments,
Yeah.
being like, "Oh, I can hear that there." It
The
sounds like a
lickers.
licker is on
Yep.
the ceiling somewhere. I hear him. Where is he?
But I don't see him
Let me just throw
in
this
this
stun
dark
grenade
room.
here for safety.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll try it. Like I say, Kyle playing it and enjoying it has made me more curious. But I also
It's
don't
a lot
think
of
that
fun.
I'm going to have a Bloodborne transformation where I'm like, I'm now a horror buff, dude. I love this. Let's
Oh
go.
yeah. No way.
Yeah, no. You can't make me. I'm not into it. But no, I like that list. A lot of fighting games,
I
but
like
I
that
like that
list too.
list.
Look, man.
Right.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I needed
It's
to
all
do
good.
something in COVID times.
Dude, don't worry about it. I talked about Call of Duty to two people that do not care. Don't you worry about it. I do not. Like, it's all good. It's all fun. Anyway, to prove that Hunter did have a name in the fucking hat, there you go. Hunter
Hey.
time. I hope you're doing these timestamps because I have not been doing them. I've been a naughty
I
boy.
am.
Thank you.
I got you. Don't worry.
Thanks, B. Right.
I've remembered this week.
Hunter, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's do this then. Revealing Hunters in 3, 2, 1. I am shocked. I am so
Yeah,
shocked.
that's about what you would expect.
Dude,
Yeah.
no, I'm not shocked at a single one of these. Like, there's not a single one. Hunter, read them out for the good folks with only ears. Don't know why I haven't said
Alrighty,
audio listeners. I'm
so
sorry.
we got AI the Somnium Files, Near Automata, Senua's Sacrifice, Transistor, Devil May Cry 5, Celeste, Dragon Age Inquisition, Metal Gear Solid 5, and The Evil Within.
Yeah, I'm not shocked in
Yeah.
the slightest. These are all games
No?
that Hunter has mentioned in
Yeah, these are all
one way,
Hunter
shape,
games.
or form. And yeah, they are games that if you were to, well, I don't know, because I knew about Nier and Devil May Cry beforehand, but it's like if you were Devil May Cry is a Hunter game just because I associate Devil May Cry with Hunter, but it's like other than Nier and maybe Celeste, because they're a bit too normy. I would not go Hunter game. But everything else, I'm like, yes, Hunter game. I'm like, Hunter's played them, but they're not Hunter, specifically a Hunter game. Hunter's a genre, by the way, just so you know. Wait till Yoshi P hears about the Hunter genre. He's going to hate that.
Oh, man.
I don't know. I say start with Devil May Cry 5, because it's like, start with the obvious, am I right?
Yeah. Oh, man, I waited.
Bingo board.
It
Get
sure
it in
is.
there. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Favorite game on the console. Waited a solid 5-10 years depending on who you are and if you cared about Ninja Theory's game. I liked
5
Ninja
years.
Theory's game,
You
so
waited
it was
5
5.
years. You wait if you were disappointed or not. You waited 5. Don't act like a child.
Well, I liked Ninja Theory's game, so it was only 5 for me. But
No, I'm just
seeing
saying
it
it's 5
return to
years
the original,
regardless.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah. Seeing it return to the original continuity and all that, it was one of the most hype E3 reveals I've ever watched. Was just that one. I was out there doing backflips when that happened. I was
What
like,
year was that?
yeah. It was revealed in 2018, and then it came out in 2019. The last 2 years of my time with this console popped off, man. Devil May Cry in 2019.
Dude, the last 2
yeah.
years of the PS4 was like firing
It
on
was
all
real good.
cylinders.
Yeah.
From first
Not to
party
mention-
and from third party. It was really
Yeah.
good exit. And it never ended.
For sure. It never
Still
did.
going strong right
It's
now.
still going.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, and like it took all the things from years ago and brought it forward. Did really cool things with Nero. Felt like he was more fleshed out as far as the things he could do with his moveset and all that. And that was really nice. Dante felt even better as far as all of his weapons went. There's like 2 ways to use all of his stuff. It was great. V was a fun experiment that they knew was going to be the most divisive, so they used him intelligently as far as putting his missions where you had to play as him less frequently. It was just a really nice thing to get. I managed to dump in the first year of owning this game 100 plus hours. According to PlayStation, for 2019, I played this more than my playthrough of the base Persona.
I also do want to say PlayStation stat tracking is awful. It says
It
Well,
like,
is.
yeah, but I definitely did play it a lot. Like
oh, I
I
don't
did my
doubt that.
typical.
I'm
I
just
did my
like,
typical. I'm just gonna play it from normal to Dante Must Die, do the one pass to get all the extra stuff, and then go on. And I had a lot of extra time to just try and get the S ranks on all the difficulties and
no,
all
fair
that.
play. Fair play.
Great game.
Great
Hell
game.
yeah.
Can't wait to get 6 in another 5 years.
Dude,
Who
I
knows?
can't wait for that. I'm real sad that I got into Devil May Cry so late, but better late than never.
Loser.
Still having fun with
You
it.
could always fill the gaps in by playing the ones you haven't played yet.
Nah, but do I want to play
Nah.
those?
Don't worry, you can join me in not having played any of them still. It's fine. It's all good.
Maybe I'll play Ninja Theory's game.
Yeah, Ninja Theory's game is worth your time, I'd say.
It looked super fun.
Yeah, it does really cool things with the gameplay. As far as like Dante's moveset is available quicker to you than it typically was in 4.
Hmm.
Like as far as the amount of buttons you have to push, it's way more streamlined that way.
Oh,
You know?
nice.
Oh, yeah.
So like people are just mad because his hair was black.
I think people are mad for a lot of reasons with that game.
Yeah,
People are just mad.
it's true.
Yeah, full stop.
Mad.
The dev team didn't handle it very well either. It was a
Also that.
it was a messy time to be a fan of that series.
Anyways, Hunter, tell us about Transistor.
Oh man,
What's that game about? Because I've heard you
Oh,
talk about this a lot, but I don't think I
Well,
could
if you
tell you
don't
anything about
know,
it.
youtube.com/hotgamersonlyhunter did a nice little
Yeah.
anniversary video for Transistor.
That
Kyle.
is
I sure
you,
did.
You're a
true.
horrible person. You did
It's-
not watch your friend's
I'm
video.
I'm a fake fan,
You are.
and I'm sorry. My apology video will be coming out shortly.
I expect to
Yeah,
see it.
that video is the best bit of scripted content I've ever made. Yeah, Transistor is a really cool like sci-fi. I guess technically you could classify it as an action RPG, but it doesn't really register as such. The gameplay is super unique, as I haven't really seen anything before or since in quite the same way. It blends like this real time, and then you use the turn function is like it boils it down to like this turn-based strategy kind of thing, and it goes on cooldown, but you can still use other moves while you're in the real time. It's real cool that way. It does a great job at presenting you with a really cool story that does a lot without saying very much.
Mhm.
And I really like games like that, or stories in general like that. Yeah, the setting's just super cool. The music is impeccable. Yeah.
No, fair enough. Fair
If
enough.
Devil May Cry didn't exist, that would be my favorite game on the console. Favorite new thing.
Cool. I'm just trying. Let's get Dragon Age Inquisition. Obviously, we know that you're a
Yeah.
fan of Dragon Age. You've talked
I
about it
sure
before.
am. Dragon Age Inquisition is one of the ones that I think probably defines like my early experience with the PS4 because it came out in like 2014. I had played like half of this game before I even owned a PS4 myself because I
Okay.
didn't get one until like Christmas that year, and I had already played through like half of the game on my brother's PlayStation. So yeah, fun times. I played it like 3 additional times after that because I do really like the Dragon Age series. It did a really good job at, some of the issues with 2, in my opinion, was that it felt too small stakes, and also both sides of the conflict sucked. And with 3, it went back to being more kind of bigger in scope, and you could be the change you want to see in the world, and the characters were super well written, and, the combat was more interesting than it had previously been. Just all around good things, and I would really like it if the 4th game could be what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Because, that's been in development limbo forever, and I
You
don't
gotta
know.
hope that these next 2 BioWare games are like a renaissance for them. Because
I would
they had a
would
bit of
hope
a
so.
they had a
Like,
bit of a rough time with Andromeda, and then obviously with Anthem, it's been a bit of a rough time for them. So I'm really hoping that with Dragon Age 4 and then the next Mass Effect, whatever that may be, you gotta really hope that it's kind of a return to form for them, because it's kind of a shame because they were like
yeah,
so
they were.
highly
It's crazy
regarded.
because like this, like because people were up in the air about BioWare to a certain extent before Dragon Age Inquisition came out, because their game before that was, Mass Effect 3, I think, right?
Yeah,
So
which people loved, but the ending was controversial. Yeah, for
yeah,
100%.
people were angry about that. Before that, it was Dragon Age 2. People were like, ah, blah blah blah. And then
Yeah.
this was, game of the year for a lot of people in 2014. People were like, oh yeah, they still got it. And then their next two games were not as impressive. But yeah.
Oh well. Right, Kyle. Do you want to pick one? We still got another 5 to go.
Um, let's go with Hellblade. Senua's
Oh man,
Sacrifice.
all right. Senua's Sacrifice is one of those games that I think it wasn't the last game I played on PS4. I think it was second last, because I've spent all of like January before I got my PS5 playing
I
Aegis
don't
Rim.
remember what the last game I played. Now I want to know. I'm gonna go check.
But I played this in like December of 2020, and it was one of those games that came out in 2017 when I was, after getting a job immediately following beating Breath of the Wild, I was kind of too busy to play all the other great games that came out that year. And Senua's Sacrifice was like was like the final holdout, and it was really good. It was one of those games that I knew I was interested in for a reason, because like thematically and all that, about Senua going into the Norse underworld to save the soul of her dead lover and all that. Really good stuff. She's one of the most sympathetic protagonists I've ever seen crafted. Like they got these whispers in her ear all the time. She's afflicted with some sort of psychosis the whole game, and it's like it makes every step that you manage to take with her feel like a victory. It's really cool that way, as far as the way it actually plays. Typical combat where you're, light attack, heavy attack, a little kick you can get out quickly for interruptions, and when you're not doing the combat stuff, you're out doing very mild bit of puzzle solving where you're looking for like Norse runes, like on there, and then that'll open up some doors. But the story's really good. Melina Jurgens as Senua was just an all-time great video game performance.
Fair enough. I did like it's one of those games that I do need to get around to at some point. Definitely do. I'm also looking, and I'm unfortunately sad to say that the last game I played on PS4 was Detroit Become Human. Fucking
Ugh, what a note to go
what a
out
bad
on.
way to go, dude. What a bad way to go. I think I was like, I was holding out the good games because like they'll run better on PS5, so I held them out. I think, and I was like, okay, what's a game that's garbage that I'm like I can play in the last week before the PS5 comes out, and that was it. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Let's talk about a. Well, the other three are critically loved, so let's talk about one of those first. Talk about MGS5. Obviously, people love MGS5.
Oh man, my MGS5, as far as games that I've played, it's never going to be as special to me as the first four, but it exists in its own weird little bubble that I have to respect as this, defines my experience with this console. The open world structure and all that. I feel like before Breath of the Wild, it did the open world mechanics as far as things that you could interact with and be creative about the best. Like, it would adjust to the way you would play as far as going on missions and stuff. If you were pulling a lot of headshots on people, eventually you'd go in and they'd be wearing like armored helmets or something. Or if you did a lot of your missions at nighttime, they'd suddenly have spotlights around the bases and all that, and just all sorts of cool and interesting stuff like that. You could accomplish there's usually like at least 2 or 3 ways to accomplish whatever goal that the mission was setting you up with, as far as like there's one early in the game where it's like, oh, you got to blow up this tank that the enemy's got, and it's like, you could, if you had the resources, commission your combat engineer guys to make you a rocket launcher and all that and take them out very simply. But if you don't have the resources to do that, you could also just, run your way down the path of the tank and plant some C4 in the path and blow it up that way. So cool stuff like that. I think that it kind of suffered a little bit from the open world thing, because things are just big for no reason. Things are
It's also
big
a
for
very
no
bloated
reason.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, like none of the environments are very distinct. I could like if you gave me any room of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, or 4 was less rooms and more just random screens,
Cutscenes.
but you know, you could just give me, a still of one of those, and I could probably approximate where you are. Uh, in 5, I can guess if it's, beige, you're in the Afghanistan map, and if it's green, you're in the Africa map, and that's all I got. I couldn't tell you the specifics of where any of that stuff was, like, on the map or what you were doing, really, until I, like, looked around, because the level that it's funny because for being the full game and all that, and for as much guff that the Ground Zeroes thing got for being a separate release, and rightfully so in some cases, Ground Zeroes was the best level in the game as far as the way it was designed. Yeah. This is really funny that way, and the story didn't come together in a way that was very satisfying for being someone who was a fan of the series, and what you want to, if you're a fan of the series and are going into a Metal Gear Solid game, you know what you want to get, and didn't really provide that. Some moments were really cool in a vacuum, but did not come together overall. Still, it'd be hard to, I played like 100 hours of this the month I got it.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. Kyle, do you want to pick one?
Yeah,
3 more
let's
to go.
talk about the Somnium Files. This is the
Oh,
Oh
first
god, there's
one, it
4
looks
more to
like.
go. I forgot we
yeah,
hadn't
there are
even
4
talked
more.
about Somnium. Oh god.
Yeah,
Oh
Somnium Files.
no.
Oh
Ugh.
no, it never ends.
Like I said, man, the last 2 years I spent with this console were great. Somnium Files came out in 2019, but I didn't play it till 2020, and it quickly became just one of my favorite things to exist,
Dude, it's
man.
special.
It's a pretty
special.
good thing.
Oh, I love it so much. It's one of the best video game mysteries I've ever played. Like, oh, and the characters are all, most of them, the ones that I'm supposed to hate, I
Most of
dislike. And the ones that aren't named Ota, I also really like. So, you
Dude,
know.
it's a special game. I'm not a huge fan of Team Zero. I'm not like the Zero Escape series has done nothing for me ever. I've had friends that absolutely adore it, and it's just not for me. It's just like every time that I've seen or looked at anything to do with those games, not for me. So I wrote Somnium Files off instantly as well, because as soon as I hear, oh, it's from the Zero Escape people, I'm like, well, I don't care for Zero Escape, so I'm not going to care about this. But then after hearing you talk about it
Ah,
quite openly for quite a while, I was like, you know what, this sounds like it's more up my street than Zero Escape is. And then I played it, and I'm like, yeah, it's fantastic. It's stupid, it's campy, it's serious, it's heartfelt, it's everything. It's
yeah, it
great.
does. It runs the whole gambit in very great ways. It uses the structure of being a video game as well as also a mystery very well. I
Yeah.
feel like it does a good job at splicing up the information that you will get while you're going through each of the paths in a way that, culminates in something that's satisfactory.
Yeah,
Oh man, man.
it's fantastic. I like
it's
it's
real
just
good.
great. I've played through it. Yeah, I played through it like twice last year. I really enjoyed it. I played through it twice. I played the sequel as well last year. I watched Sam play parts of it last year.
Oh, I watched Sam play parts of it
It's
last
a
year. It
very
was great.
watchable game,
So
and
did I.
it's a very enjoyable game.
It
It's
was
got a
good
very good
fun.
script, and the performances as well. They're all fantastic. It's got some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Dude, this is probably my favorite performance from Greg Chun. He
Greg
does
Chun
such a
does a
good
great
job as
job in this
Dante.
game. It's so good. Uh,
Yeah,
Not
it's
just the
great.
goofy stuff too. Like when it needs to be serious,
And
like
everything.
Mizuki's performance in a lot of those sections is fantastic.
Hmm.
Hell yeah. Let's talk about the Evil Within then, because that's a controversial one
Alrighty.
in a way.
Oh well, in the same way that Dragon Age kind of defined my early experience with the PS4, The Evil Within did as well. Whereas I'm pretty sure I beat the game before I ever owned the console, because this was not an RPG that was 60 hours. But the funny part about my experience with this game was I had gotten to start it at my brother's place. I got like 3 chapters in or
Mhm.
whatever, and then by the time I came to hang out again the next time, my brother had beaten the game like 2 or 3 times. He was on currently on the like psychopath you die in one hit difficulty,
Oh
and
God.
you know,
Ew.
he was doing that, and we were just passing the controller back and forth. Eventually, and we hit this wall because every modern horror game has to have the stupid Resident Evil 4 cabin where you're just stuck in a room and you got to shoot things that are trying to break in for
Oh hell yeah.
yeah
Dude, even The
ever.
Last of
And
Us has that.
yeah, that on that
Stupid
difficulty
areas.
was a miserable experience.
Not fun in
That
general.
nearly would have been like I because I didn't even get to that part organically yet. That was my first part. That was my
Oh
first experience
god.
with that level.
Oh
I didn't
God.
get there yet. I was only 3 chapters in. That happens in like chapter 6, I think. So that was like atrocious. And before that, there was a very cool boss fight in the mission before where the one shot kill stuff actually made puzzling that out a bit more interesting. But chapter 6, I believe, one shot kill mode. Yeah, I was like, I'm never playing this more than like, I'm never playing this on anything higher than normal after this, because like I don't think we advanced beyond that while I was still there. But eventually I did play the rest of the game, and it was pretty solid. It was nice to just for the time even like. AAA horror games were dead in 2014. It had basically pivoted to, you know, after Amnesia, just a bunch of people doing that, and then there was the glimmer of hope with the PT demo and all that. But that, I think by the end of
That
2014 was.
quickly went away.
I think by the end of 2014, or a few months into 2015, that got the kibosh as far as the full game is never coming out. So The Evil Within, it was a solid time. I definitely liked it enough to pick up the second one, and I would be interested in playing a third one. It's just very, very fun experience overall.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Just a
Oh, you've
few
probably
more.
managed to vibe with that one a decent bit now that you've played the other Resident Evil games.
Maybe. I'll take a look
Maybe.
at. I'll peruse the store.
Or
It
you
isn't
could
very
play
scary.
Nier Automata for the PlayStation 4.
I don't want to play Nier Automata.
But the
Oh,
That
Nier
depression.
sounds like
Automata's
a
great.
lot.
Oh man.
It sounds like a lot.
Dude, here's the thing, right? It's like I've talked about this game. I like Nier Automata quite a bit. I feel like I was more harsh on Nier Automata than I should have been because being depressed and playing Nier Automata is not a fun experience. And it's like, it's like, being sad and being like, you know what, I'm going to play Nier Automata is not the best idea. But when I look back at it and I look at what they tried to do, I respect it quite a bit. It's interesting. It's good.
Yeah, it certainly worked a lot for me. I really liked just the general, I like games that are depressing. It is.
I do too. I like stuff like that. It's just it's very heavy. It's very heavy.
It is. It is. And like it's also like not that's like one of the funny things about this game is that I feel like I've looked into what Drakengard, and that seems like it's heavy to like a superfluous degree in a lot of ways. Or like, like, and it's like a PS3 game that isn't as the gameplay aged like milk. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to go back and look at that one. But this game, as a gameplay, Platinum, still doing good things at that point in time. Solid.
Yeah, there's something about this game that it's like it's very special. It's a very special video game, and I realize that it's like Nier Automata is one of those games that you're not gonna have another Nier Automata come around.
Nah,
Ever.
even
if
they make
a
another
third
one,
Nier,
it won't be like Automata.
when the remake of Replicant came out, didn't hit the same way as Automata. People played it, but I still haven't gone around to play it because, to be honest, I always forget that they remade Replicant. To be honest, because there was something really special about Automata where people just wouldn't shut up about it, for better or for worse, and it just that game kind of exudes like its whole its vibe. It just kind of everything about it is its atmosphere, and it's just the way that game makes you feel, where it's like, yeah, there's some cool set pieces, some cool areas like the amusement park, but everything just, you always feel off in a good way, not in like not in like I'm not jiving with this, but it's just like everything always just makes you feel off,
even
and
at the
makes you
best of
feel
times, there's like some kind of overhanging melancholy to it, like people will always think about like the Weight of the World song or whatever, in the credits and all that. The one that sticks with me the most is like the City Ruins or Rays of Light or whatever it's called, where it's got like the piano that
Is
comes
that the
in.
area with the flooded area and stuff like that?
I think so.
Dude, genuinely, that music made me uncomfortable to the point where I had to put the
Oh.
game down for the day. That is genuinely the same area as the City Ruins. Like, genuinely, I was just listening to it and I'm like, I cannot do this right now. And it's just like, it was creeping me out. It was like, it just made me feel so much unease that I have to turn it off. And it was like, in retrospect, it's like, I respect it more now. When I was playing it, I was miserable. I was like, I don't want to carry on playing right now. I need to turn it off. And it's like, in a way, it's like I was fighting with that game a lot of the time. And it's like looking back at it now and looking at its themes and how its themes also relate to like the way I was feeling and the way that I felt. It was like I respect it more now after looking back on it. But at the
Yeah.
time, it was like it was hitting me almost too much. Where I was like, okay, music can't deal with this right now. It's getting to me, the creepy stuff. It's like it makes me feel uneasy, and it also just like some things just creeped me out. Where I'm just like, oh god, no, I don't want to do. I don't want to. I don't like everything. What's
Oh yeah.
behind the corner? There's certain areas I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't played it. It's a very special game, but I'll just say
Yeah.
I don't think there's
Sure.
anything spoiling this because robots are all in it. But there's one specific moment with one specific robot where the whole walk to the objective, I was feeling nothing but dread because had a feeling that I knew what was going to happen.
Oh
And when it
yeah.
does, it fucking kills you, and it's just like it's like, oh, that whole situation. Still, I haven't played this game in nearly 4 years, and I still feel that kind of like, oh god, that kind of unease about it all.
And the
It's a
entire
very
last
powerful game.
third of the game is like an assault on your emotions. Like there's a part like 2/3 of the way through the game where just hours after getting it, I'm like, man, this sucks.
Yeah, and like,
Just
don't get me
until
wrong,
I beat
there's
the
parts
game,
of
I
the
was like,
story,
God.
like the Adam and Eve stuff, I don't really get, and I'm like, it doesn't really jive with me. But the second half of that game, where everything kind of flips, I'm like,
Yeah,
it's very powerful, very strong game. It's one that
for
I feel like
sure.
I need to play again, but also I don't want to play again. Again, similar to Last of Us Part 2, it's like I'd probably get a
Yeah.
lot out of playing it again. I don't want to though. You can't make me. I don't want to be sad. Hell no. Anyway, have we just got Celeste? Is that it? Final one?
Oh, we sure
I
Celeste.
do
think
have
so.
Celeste. Oh,
Okay,
man.
Celeste is a video game. It's a good indie platformer.
Oh, it's my favorite platformer. Like,
Ever?
yeah, in general, suck
Wow.
it, Mario.
It's good.
It's a
How
real
dare
good
you?
game.
How dare you say
Like,
that to Mario?
oh, he'll
On
be
the day
okay.
after his birthday?
Oh, how dare
He's
you?
got a movie coming out. He'll be okay.
I was just trying to
But
think. I was
anyway,
like,
yeah.
is Celeste my favorite 2D platform on PS4? I feel like Rayman Legends gets it just because I'm a big Rayman Legends shill. I do love a bit of
Legends is
Rayman
really
Legends,
nice.
but Celeste is very good as well.
Yeah,
I
like
should
it just
finish Legends at some point.
You should.
it's got all the nice little gameplay things as far as like, the jump, the dash, very smartly designed levels where all of your obstacles are chunked up in a way that it doesn't make it feel like until you get to the end of the DLC where you're not really doing like you're not really doing like a marathon. You can just take things bit by bit,
Yeah.
and all that. It's got all the nice accessibility options for people who, you know, don't want to or aren't actually capable, physically of being able to tackle all these challenges the way it comes out of the box. Uh, uh, and then it's, story in a 2D platformer. Just something I was never expecting to get when I started, or when I had heard about it anyway, and then when I did play it, I'm like, oh man, it actually is as good as what was being implied and all that. I've nerded out about specific moments and the way it works plenty of times before, and oh man, just good stuff all around. Celeste is a great game.
Yeah, it's good.
This
It's
is
a
a
grand
game
little
that
game.
I have been meaning to replay because I've played it once and I've always heard people say like how good it was, but I just didn't feel that on my first playthrough, so I don't know if a second pass of the game would
I was the same way, and
do me anything.
the second pass did really do something because I played it the first time. I played it all in one sitting. I any percented it on Switch in one night. I played it for about 4 hours, and I was like, well, that was fun, and then closed it and then didn't do anything again. And then when I went back to it on PS4 the second time round, because it was in the game collection, I was like, I'll play it. Why not? I did all the collectibles. I got all the strawberries. I did the B-sides. I don't remember if I did the C-sides, but I definitely did the B-sides.
I think
And I
the
was like,
C-sides are like the only thing I haven't actually done yet.
but I was
And
like,
it's
no,
like one
no,
of
I
those
like
ones where
this a
it's like,
lot more now that I've kind of sat down and didn't just rush through it and any percent it like I do a lot of things. It was like, oh no, I respect, like, I like it a lot. Not as much as some people, but that's just the way it is sometimes. I do like it quite a bit though. Its
Yeah.
gameplay is very solid. It's a very solid platform, and I can't wait for what they do next. I can't remember what it's called.
Earthblade?
Earthblade, that was it. I knew it was
Yeah.
Earth something. I was like, Earthblade?
Yeah, whatever that is, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm sure. That the team at, I don't remember what their new name is. It used to be Maddie Makes Games, but I don't know what.
I think it's really okay, extremely
Really
okay
games or something like that. Yeah, extremely okay, something like that. They're great anyway, and
Yeah.
they're selling themselves a bit short there, but hey ho. There we go. Really good. And yeah, you should definitely play it. If you're into 2D platforms, definitely check it out.
By far, definitely one of the best, if at least in recent years to come out as far as like 2D platformers.
Definitely. Well, me and Kyle shared 2 games, so I guess that means that it's not 20 whatever games, 27 games. It's 25. Oh, that's perfect. That's better thumbnail. Thank you, Kyle.
That's a better name.
You're welcome.
So yeah, that's 25 PS4 games that you should definitely play. I don't know. Whose list do you like more? Let us know.
That would have been our PlayStation Plus collection.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. If you were here for the PlayStation 4 things, congratulations. You may go. You have our blessing. Come back next week, though, please. Please. Thank you. We'll round it out. We like to do this. At the end of every season, we like to make ourselves sad by looking at the failures of the year. No, I'm kidding. It's all good. It's all good. We look at the optimistic things and all the good stuff that's happened the past year. So I have some stats for you because I'm not busy enough. So I decided, why not get some stats? Because I love some stats, and now I'm trying to find the tab that has the stats, and I'm losing everything, baby. Hey, we got it. Forget about it. I'm going to put it here, so this side looks like Casper, and this side doesn't. Perfect. So, if I turn like this, though, I all look Casper. It's all good. So, if you're new here, we're just going to talk about a load of stats. We're going to do some nerdy stuff, some nerdy facts and figures. Then we'll talk about some of our favourite episodes, some of our least favourite episodes. We'll just basically talk about our little year in review because we've been doing this for 3 years and that's kind of crazy. So, stats for you this year. We did 52 podcast episodes this year, everybody. Well done. Same as we did last year and the year before. We have 1 episode for every week.
1 a week, baby.
We also did 1 additional spoiler cast. That was the Horizon spoiler cast when we separated them off, and then we brought the Xenoblade one back into regular thingy. So we just do what we want over here at the HGO. We just do what we want. Whenever we need content, we do what we want. Reviews. We did 5 this year. 5 whole reviews. And by we, I mean Cal did 4 and Cal did 4 and Hunter did 1. Hunter did 4 and Cal did 1, and I edited Kyle's. Good job, team.
Yeah.
So, season 3, we made 3 days, 13 hours, 45 minutes, and 39 seconds of podcasts. If we include this one, which is going to be another 2 hours or so, then we did 3 days, 15 hours, and 45 minutes of podcasts, roughly, give or take. That's a lot of podcasts. The average episode length was 1 hour and 40 minutes, which has gone up from 1 hour and 29 last year. So we've obviously gone a bit high this year. But hey, if you guys like it, that's all cool. If you don't, let us know. We'll trim them down a bit, maybe. I don't know. What do you like? I don't know.
We'll give you guys a half an hour episode. How's that sound?
That sounds tragic. Thank you.
We'll balance it out.
Anyway, the total length of the podcast now, if you were to start from episode 1, you poor bastards. 9 days, 14 hours, 56 minutes and 4 seconds, not including this episode, so add another 2 hours onto that. 9 days, 16 hours, basically 9 days, 17 hours. Let's just round that up. There you go. That's a lot of podcasts. I've done it before where I look at a podcast that's gone on for ages and gone, I can catch up. Good luck.
You can skip season 1.
You can skip a lot of season 1. I feel like
There's
we
no
should.
lore in
I
season 1.
feel like we should have like a playlist of like our favorite episodes. So we have like we add an episode if we think we really like it, and you'd see that season 1 would probably take up roughly about 2% of that playlist. There's at
That's
least one or
being
two.
generous.
There's at least one or two. Right. Appearances. Hunter's doing swell count. He said, I'm doing swell in every episode this season. Congratulations, Hunter. Well done. You did such a good job of doing what you're told.
Perfect attendance.
Yeah. Which means he's done it for every episode in the past 2 years. So there you go. If you want to keep keeping track, you go ahead. I think he's going to keep doing it, guys. Just, I don't know. We'll throw him off, maybe. Who knows? Anyway.
It only gets thrown off when I don't show up.
Appearances this year. I appeared on all 52 episodes this year, which means I have appeared on every episode of the HGO podcast bar 1, which was in season 2. Which means I also hosted every single episode of the HGO podcast bar, what, 3? I think Cal's hosted 1. Cal's hosted 2.
If we
Hunter's
count
hosted
spoiler
1.
casts, then
Yeah, because the P5 spoiler cast was still part of the original running. So there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, Carl, you showed up for 50 episodes this year. You only missed 2. One of them was the PS1
Platformers.
game. One of them was platformers, and what was the other one? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But you did miss.
You're
2.
the one with the stats.
Oh, it was the PS4 cycle one. It was we did a.
That would have been season 1.
Predicting the future of PlayStation. That was what it was.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that one. I remember that now.
Missed
That
one episode. I don't remember what the episode was.
It was
but
the
you were-
Genshin episode because I was coming back from vacation.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
And I didn't need to be
around
around to talk about Genshin because
go.
I don't care about Genshin.
True.
That's the spirit.
That's the spirit. It's now time to hand out some You Tried participation awards for the regulars. Quote unquote regulars.
Oh god.
Kane and Sam both showed up in 2 episodes. Jack showed up in 1 episode and a cancelled episode that will never see the light of day. And then good friends of the show, Nate and Jacob, also showed up. I think Jacob showed up in 2 episodes and Nate showed up in 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to know grand total of episodes that everybody showed up in, so far in total, not the regulars. I've not counted all the regulars. I do not have time to count all of that. I've shown up in 155 of the 156 episodes. Kyle has shown up in 139 of the 156 episodes. You missed a lot in season 1, but you've basically been here for every episode since. And then Hunter, 152, which means you've only ever missed 4 episodes of the podcast, apparently.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, I missed a lot in season 1 because this was before we really had a plan, and also I was still in college.
And also the original plan was, we said this before, was it was supposed to be a rotating
Yeah.
thing. I wasn't supposed to be the host every week, and it wasn't supposed to be just us 3, but that's what's happened now, so you're sticking with it.
But
Deal with it.
everyone's gone.
That's what it is now, okay? That's
Jack
what it
doesn't even show
is.
up outside of the
I haven't
podcast
spoken to Jack
when he
since
says he's going
December,
to.
bro.
I know, dude. Where is he?
He keeps saying he shows up, then he falls asleep and never shows up. Anyway,
He didn't show up for the Game Awards.
so last year we had 3 episodes enter our top 5 from the first season. So 3 season 2 episodes enter the top 5. So the top 5 podcast episodes on YouTube. We didn't do podcasts last year for some reason because I was lazy. I think I said they were super close. I lied. I was just lazy. It's been a year. I feel like you can forgive me. The top 5 of last year were Smash Fighters Predictions was number 1, Project Owls number 2, Metroid Dread overrated number 3, Deathloop overrated number 4, P5R Spoiler Cast number 5. This year, we have had in the top 5, 4 of the top 5 are new entries.
Woo.
Just period.
Yeah.
And then of the top 12, 8 of the top 12 are new entries. And the reason you're like, Ethan, why are you doing top 12 now? Well, number 12 was the P5R spoiler cast, which was number 5 of last year. So we've had enough episodes go through that it's pushed number 5 to number 12, which is quite fun. The most watched YouTube. So, like I said, I'll give you. So you had P5R Spoilercast was number 12, obviously. New entry at number 11, 30 greatest PS1 games. In the top
That's
10,
a good one.
That was
10
a
and
fun one.
9 are the Deathloop and Metroid Overrated. So that was Metroid Overrated was our number 3 as of last year.
nice.
It's now our number 9. So number 8, Xenoblade 3 looks incredible. That was our first Xenoblade 3 episode. There's a lot of Xeno 3 episodes in this. Is there? Project L is number 7. Our number 2 slot is now number 7.
Ooh.
Number 6, Genshin Impact Year 2 review. Number 5, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 spoiler cast. Number 4, our previous number 1, Fighters Pass predictions with Yoshilla is now number 4, which means we have a brand new top 3. Number 3, God of War Overrated, which I don't think anyone expected, but there you go. That is our number 3. Number 2, Final Fantasy VII Hopes and Dreams is number 2.
Oh yeah, that was a
And
good
then
one.
number 1 is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Overrated. We had to nerf this one into fucking oblivion, but there you go.
But what
I'd
if
also
we
want to
didn't?
say, I also want to say that is our first podcast episode to crack 1,000 views on YouTube, and our only one to do that, I believe.
It's
which
crazy.
which is awesome.
It also has the best YouTube comment.
It does,
Yes,
that
Elden
is-
Ring is better.
The best pair of YouTube comments is the guy is the one that left the essay,
Oh yeah, the video
saying-
essay. Yeah.
and then the reply right above that, which was, "Yes, Elden Ring is better." I think
or-
about those two things like at least once a week.
Same,
Oh,
to be
man.
honest. As for our most listened podcast, we had the unfortunate occurrence this week of, if you didn't know, our podcast is hosted on Anchor, which is owned by Spotify. They decided to merge Anchor into Spotify for podcasters this week. I did not find out until today. So I had to try and figure out how the fuck their systems worked. Didn't figure it out fully. So I have our top 6 on podcasts. Compared to first year, because we didn't do it, all of the top 5, bar 1, has been replaced. And yes, Persona 5 Royal Spoilercast is still number 1 on podcast. Please stop listening to that episode.
Yeah.
This is my request now. Yeah, this is stupid. Please
It will live
stop.
on forever.
Year
Why?
1, baby.
Why? Yes, but
Not
everything
only
out-
year 1, but it's like in the first 10 episodes.
I know, and it's just 2 people. It's just Ethan and Jacob just rambling for 3 hours while I sit there existing.
That's great. It's great content. The funny thing is, as well, the YouTube and audio versions are the exact same because it was before we did webcams. So, you know, you're not missing, you
Yeah.
don't get to see anything about Kyle just sitting there losing his brain. He's just there. The good news is
I'm
2,
so
3, and
glad we
4.
didn't have
2,
webcams for
3, and
that.
4 are all new entries, and number 3 will shock you. Ooh, clickbait.
Oh man.
So, we're top 6. Number 6 is 30 best PS1 games. That guy had a little bit of a glow up on the audio version, so thank you for that
That's a
one.
good
podcast listeners.
episode.
Number 5, Life is Strange True Colors spoiler cast from year 2
Oh,
is
cool.
still in the top 5. Spoiler casts, you'll see, actually do quite well. Number 4, our Xenoblade Chronicles 3 review. Our number 1 on YouTube is our number 4 on podcast, so people do like when we talk about Xenoblade 3. Number 3 is Octopath Traveler 2 worth it? I shit you not. In 3 weeks, this podcast episode on podcast services has risen all the way past like 153 fucking episodes of this podcast. Why? I
Oh.
don't get why, but that literally 3 weeks ago, that episode, that might have a good shot at climbing all the way to the moon for some reason.
Nice.
Thank you for listening to that one episode. Can you
Thank you
please
so
bring the
much.
rest of them up with it? Thank you. Number 2, obviously number 1's Royal Spoilercast. Number 2 is Xeno 3 Spoilercast. Is our number 2.
Nice.
So what you're trying to say to us guys is, hey, we like spoiler casts, and to that I laugh, as we will do less and less of them each and every year because we think it's funny. No, there'll be plenty this year. I'm sure there will.
I mean, I
I
think
tried to make a
got some
God
good
of War one
contenders this
happen
year.
last year, and then Ethan told me to shut up.
Yeah, it was too late. It was too late. It was too late, and I really didn't want to talk about God of War. I finished it like weeks before you, and I was like, no more. Who blew the horn? Who cares? Anyway, I'm sure there'll be plenty this year. You know, Resident Evil 4, We could do
Resi4
one.
could
And
have
by we, I
one.
mean
Tears of the
ye.
Kingdom,
Tears of the Kingdom.
FF16,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pikmin 4.
Spider-Man 2.
Or
Plenty.
is anyone buying that?
I
No.
think Pikmin 4 would be a funny spoiler cast from the three of us because none of us have played a Pikmin
It's
game.
also, where would the
Yeah.
spoilers come from?
Yeah, like,
Exactly.
Where would the spoilers come from?
Dude, that's
but-
why I think it'd be hilarious.
I also, yeah, like I say, I also just
Street
want
Fighter
everybody.
spoiler cast while we're at it.
I just want everyone to know my final fun fact of the trivia section is Project L is nowhere near the top or like in the bottom
Finally.
top of podcasts on podcast services. Why did it do so well on YouTube? Who are you that came on YouTube?
And why are
Because-
you?
Yeah, why, who, what, where, why, and how? Because geez Louise, you did not show up on podcast. So there's some fun stats.
Especially since that game's not coming out until like 2026 at the rate they're going.
And I can also guarantee we probably won't even cover it. So it's like
Probably
thank you for
not.
showing up, I guess. We appreciate you. So I guess the final thing to do is just what did you guys think of season 3? Now that it's over, we can chat as much shit as we want. I don't know. Any thoughts and opinions?
I really enjoyed this season.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's
There's a lot of really good
best one that
episodes in
we've
this
done
season.
so far.
I don't think
Like-
that's hard. I don't think that's like a challenge hunter to be like, this is the best season we've
Well,
done.
no,
Like,
but
it's not.
it would be a problem if it wasn't, probably.
Mhm.
But you know, but there are a lot of fun ones to just think back on immediately. Like the one we did right after. Did the Kingdom Hearts one make the season cut, or did that get revealed before?
Hopes and Dreams of Kingdom Hearts 4 was. It was like
Yeah,
episode
that was
4.
episode 4.
Yeah, that was a great one.
There's plenty of really, fun and quirky episodes. There's like
Even our season opener, best, worst, and weirdest final bosses. I really enjoyed that as a topic. I think that was super fun to
yeah,
just
same.
brainstorm ideas for.
Same, 100%. It's like my thing was season 4. I'm gonna move the playlist here because I know that I've literally just bought a new mic, so the fact that I'm now going to do this and not face it is like a crime in itself.
You look that microphone in the eyes, Ethan.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, audio listeners. I think that was a bit too intense. We did a lot of good stuff this year, and it's like I feel like, did we make some mistakes? Yes. Did we maybe make
3 Splatoon episodes was a bad idea.
one Splatoon episode was maybe
One-
too many? So the fact we did
Yeah.
3 was kind of crazy. I feel like there was a point in the middle of the season, and I don't necessarily blame any of us for it, because when you have a video game drought like last year did, where there was plenty of games at the start and end of the year, but there was this big middle gap of really nothing, we did start to have a couple of episodes where it was like we were just cranking out topics like it was no one's business. I think if there's one thing that we need to do next year, which is better, which would be would be better planning and actually having topics in advance. We always talk about bringing people on, and we never do, because most of the time we don't even know what we're doing like 2 days before an episode goes live. Never mind what anybody else is doing. So it's like, yeah, stuff like having guests on, I'm like, yeah, we could do that. And it's like, I feel like the past 2 years I was like, we need to have more guests on, and looking back at it, I'm like, I don't really mind. Like, I'd like to have more people on, but I'm also not chomping at the bit to be like, we must do it. It's more like having a variety, really, because I'm sure some people are sick of listening to us 3 talk about the same 5 games every week sometimes. But it's like there's some episodes that this year where I'm like, no, there's some genuinely good stuff. There's some genuinely like I would be comfortable. There's a lot of stuff in if we go back to season 1 where I'm like, I'm not comfortable 3 years. Like, you can go back and listen to it. There's nothing offensive. There's nothing bad. It just offends me.
But there's nothing good.
Yeah, it offends me how there are fun moments and stuff like that, but it is also very much a rusty year of podcasting where we're all learning to get to grips with it. And year 2, I feel like year 2, even though there's some better stuff, it's not consistently better. Whereas this year, I'm
Yeah.
like, even the garbage, right? Even though we made 3 episodes on Splatoon, I would like. I feel like there's more to say in those 3 episodes about Splatoon than there are in plenty of episodes of season 1. Like there is plenty of stuff to be had, and there's been plenty of funny moments and good stuff. It just felt like a more, I don't know, refined season of season 2. I feel like there was a bigger jump between seasons 1 and 2, but I feel like that was mainly because season 1 was a very different season because we were all rusty and the cast was jumping back and forward and all over the place every week, and season 2 was very much us three getting to learn to just talk to each other because our friends don't like us anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was less of a jump, but I feel like the quality jumped up this year. And it might also be because Hunter's fucking mic finally showed up and his webcam finally died. I also think that
happened. That happened at the
And
end.
his
of
laptop
the
finally
other one.
exploded.
It was the
all
end.
Of that.
It was the end of season 2, but it also mainly took part in season 3. So it's like season 3 improved because of that. I also do not believe that you've had the glowy mic for that long. I do not believe you.
It's been since the first thing I did with this was make the Metroid review.
I don't believe you.
Wow.
I do not believe you.
Yeah.
Let me double check this. I do not believe you. Oh my god, the glowy mic is there. Oh god, and I also just played the audio. Ethan. I'm gonna have to edit that now. God damn it. Anyway.
Microphone is still hanging out here somewhere.
Microphone is still here. It does still exist. We should bring it back for a special.
If I ever have to go on location again, maybe.
Oh, please don't. I'm like, oh, how would that even work? I have no clue. I also need to just make a timestamp of that where I just did the thingy. But I don't know. Any least favorite episodes? I know mine is probably one of the Splatoon 3 episodes. Probably, if I'm being honest with you.
Well,
probably, yeah.
I know that was headlined by Splatoon 3 all 3 times, but it's also like I'm sure that we talked about other things in it that wasn't bad.
I don't know. You're the person that actually listens to it afterwards. I don't.
I would struggle. Like I know that when it actually came out was also the week that I talked about River City Girls. But you know. Off the top, maybe what was it? The one we had to do in a rush because we canceled the other episode that we recorded. Probably
Platformers one.
Even though
I love that episode.
Fine.
I love that episode because it was an absolute tragedy to get it.
It was more the experience of making it that I'm thinking of because it's like, oh, I gotta wake up and do this.
And it was definitely because we did it again. That was the thing is we didn't change the topic, did we? We just did it again, and it was like. Imagine literally talking to your friends for 2 hours about something and then the next day going, oh, I'm sorry, we need to do that again. Like, and the same energy. And it just, I agree. It was like, Sam was very much, bless Sam, because obviously he's not been around as much as he usually has been because life has been in the way. But he did do both of those. Like, he came back the next day to do it like again. And, he like I say, if I was him in that situation, I wouldn't have come back. I can tell you that much. No way.
Like you guys are on your own.
Yeah, get in the bin, bro. Like genuinely, not about it.
I think one of my least favorite ones of this season would probably be best gaming soundtracks. The one right after that episode. Funnily enough,
funny enough, I don't even remember it. That's the thing is we do so many.
Yeah.
Episodes, it's like. I don't remember how well it went, or if it went terribly, or who was on it.
I think it was just us 3.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I think this is the kind of episode that would have really benefited from having a guest because, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I am not qualified to talk about music. I don't know what makes music sound good. I just know
and the boops, isn't it?
Well,
I just know the wiggly air that I like sounds good.
You know. That's the thing. It's like you could tell me. I've had people, or I've listened to people describe how on a technical level, songs are great, and I'm like, don't care, don't like it.
Yeah.
I've never studied music theory.
Yeah. I've had the benefit of at least I've never studied it either, but I've talked to people who, dabble with it, or in one case, majored in it. So,
Mm.
I kind of pick up on a couple of things, but I'm also an idiot as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
And just talk about the things I enjoy,
Ugh.
more so
Yeah.
how it ties back into the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like I say, it's very. I don't know. I think my least favorite episode is also the least viewed episode. Hopes and Dreams plus Splatoon 3. It was definitely not the greatest piece of content that we've ever made.
No.
Also,
That was
Nintendo
a
Switch
filler
Sports.
episode.
Yeah, that also didn't do well, and I don't blame it because I don't remember what happened in that episode. But I also know I don't like Nintendo Switch Sports, so it's like,
Oh yeah, that one.
yeah, I genuinely do not remember this one. Does
Take a looky
does
loo.
Overwatch 2 feel like a true? Oh god, the Sonic movie. See, there's some stuff in here where I'm like, I don't even remember this. I don't. That's the problem. Is so we do so much.
Oh yeah, the
content.
Sonic 2
I
movie.
don't remember any of this.
I
Hunter was
did
very
watch
bright.
that. That was a good one.
But no, there's plenty of great episodes. I love the Xenoblade 3 episodes that we did. The spoiler cast is great. I like all of that. We did the same with Bayonetta. The Bayonetta saga was also something else where we talked about Bayonetta for like 6 million years. That was
Okay,
also
but I
something
think
where
I think it was warranted with Bayonetta.
yeah, true. The story did
with all
change
the
every week.
debacle
The
going
story
on
did change
around
every
it.
week. And then there's just like I say, some classic ones where it's like I did love shitting on the Persona 25th anniversary. That was a fun time. I did enjoy
was
that.
a good one.
The Jeff Keighley saga was rather entertaining this year because it was actually good. So you had to revel in that one. I loved our Game of the Year special that we did. I think that one was very good.
And of course the fantasy draft episode.
Always a highlight.
That's always a favorite.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. So yeah,
That one's
it's like
always good.
it was like looking forward, hopes for next year. Like I say, just kind of up. Like I say, I think my goal from an outsider's perspective, and I know this is kind of like inside baseball, so I don't know how many people actually care about talking about this, but you're at the end of a season now. If you got this far in, then you might as well just keep listening. It's just kind of upping the quality bar in terms of let's not just do this because fuck it. We've got nothing else to do. Let's come up with a topic. If we need to pre-record something early because you are busy, let's do that. Let's just work on something instead of just going, you know what, Splatoon works. Let's just do Splatoon for a 60th time this year.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the Kraken.
I did really like the game show thing I came up with.
Oh my God.
Like do more stuff like that.
If
we're gonna do topics, have more people to kind of bounce off of, even if it's like just having Kane or Jack or Sam or somebody.
Yeah.
You can try and drag somebody else in, or Jake or Nate or anybody. Just try and drag people.
I would love to watch Jack do the quiz show.
Jack doing the quiz show would be pretty funny. Not gonna lie.
That would be the peak episode of the show.
We'd have to make sure he's not drinking though, because we
when
can't do it the next
I
day.
construct another one.
There's some good stuff, and there's some good stuff to come. I'm looking forward to next year. It's going to be a fun one. It's
Got a lot of big stuff planned.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know. Like I say, it's that's our show, I guess. It's been 2 hours. We've done a long one again. It's like it feels weird, dude. This feels like I know it's not the end, and I know every time it's like we do this, it's like, well, that's it. But this does feel like the end in a way. I don't know if it's just because things might look a tiny bit different next year, and when I say that, I say things are going to look a tiny bit different next year, and it's the font changes in the background, and that's about it. And I'm like, I don't know. It's like it feels weird. It feels a bit weird, but we're here. The end is nigh for now. It's crazy, but thank you both for joining me on this crazy journey. It's been fun so far. Let's hope
no problem.
that we keep going and it keeps getting better and better and better. And hey, if you've been here, whether you have been here for a couple of weeks or a couple of years, we appreciate everybody for hanging out. We appreciate you. It's been a wild ride. It genuinely has, and it's not over just yet, but it definitely has been a thing. And if you have been here since the start, thank you ever so much, because it's been a long ride and you have sat through a lot of content. It was definitely content.
Free and competent.
Free and competent.
That was the tagline.
That was the tagline, especially for season 1. But we've been through it. We've been through a lot. It's been, like I say, it's crazy that it started in 2020 and we're still here, still talking about video games, still not shutting up about video games. But hey, there we go. Our links are on screen right now, I guess. You can go into the description if you're on podcast. You can go follow us on your favorite social media, as long as your favorite social media is twitter.com, because that's where we are. I don't know, keep up to date with everything we do outside of the show. I don't know how to end it. I don't know how to end it. But anyway, I'll just do the spiel. We'll just do the spiel. That always works. You can go follow us on Twitter at HotGamersOnly. Subscribe to us on youtube.com/HotGamersOnly. We'd really appreciate that. And hey, if you don't want to look at our stupid faces, that's cool too. You can head to your favorite podcast service. Head to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. We're on it. Go and check it out. We'd really appreciate it. And yeah, with that, that's been the season, I guess.
That's the season.
That's the season.
wrap.
That's the season. I don't know what to do anymore. Well, what is life? It's crazy.
Come back next week and start season 4.
I don't know how to do that. It's going to be weird. It's going to be fun. I don't know. I don't know what to say, to be honest. I kind of want to mention something, but I also don't.
Well, here's what you'll say. You'll look at the camera and you say, "Have an awesome week, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye."
See ya.
Toodaloo.
I guess that's it.